Hey, you silly scallywags. Before we get knee deep into episode 59 of White Heat, number one, yes, I am keeping the light off in my office because it's already hot enough as it is in upstate New York. Door number two, speaking of hot, it's going to be red hot underneath the roof of MVP Arena this coming weekend as the Albany Empire are at home once again for the second weekend in a row. They are hosting the San Antonio Gunslingers in National Arena League football action. Kickoff scheduled for 7 p.m. at MVP Arena in downtown Albany. Albany Empire, by the way, right now, they're right at the top of the standings of the NAL. Not saying, just saying. They've they've figured it out. They've scratched and clawed their way to the top, and now they get to defend that top spot against the Gunslingers. Once again, 7 p.m. kickoff this Saturday, downtown Albany, MVP Arena. For tickets, make sure you visit AlbanyEmpireNAL.com. That being said, welcome. Welcome. Yes, I know later than usual during the week, but you know what? When when the doctors say you go, and that's what JJ did. That's JJ. I'm Brian. His surgeon didn't have COVID once again, so
Thank God.
he was able to get in and get done what he had to get done. So,
Mhm.
how you feeling, brother? And let's see you back home.
Ah, hanging in there. Still a little groggy from the anesthesia. I'm 33% more bionic now. It's weird. This thing is so weird, and it's going to take a while to get used to. Like, like, apparently, like, my recovery time is going to be quicker than I thought, which is great. But, like, literally, like, I was told that, like, we're going to put this big metal ass apparatus on your foot, and you're going to be in a wheelchair for 7 to 10 days, and then you'll slowly start being able to stand and walk. And I was like, okay, cool, I can deal with that. Day one out of surgery, physical therapist comes in. All right, we're going to practice standing today.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay then.
So
Well,
yeah,
how'd that go over?
I didn't fall. The one weird thing is apparently with the surgery, with everything that happened, apparently I lost an inch of height. So that's kind of weird.
That is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Well, now you
So
know how Hulk
now
Hogan.
I'm only 6'2" now.
And now you know how Hulk Hogan feels from all the spinal fusion surgeries. Um, I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of. I was trying to make light of it. Sorry. Um,
That's all right.
yeah. So it's it's been eventful because we pushed back the show a few days. That's that much more. Yeah. You laugh now. Wait till we get over it. Um, yeah, that much more stuff we got to get over. But first, we'll deal with the drib and drab, the not so uh, controversial stuff, and that's the stuff going on across the Pacific Ocean. Yes, it's the Pacific Ocean. Don't start that all Atlantic title bullshit with me.
Cold
Um,
Atlantic.
yeah, cold Atlantic. New Japan. They have the G1 going on right now. They just finished night number 3. And going through the as of right now, the A block, we see Okada, Yano, and Bad Luck Fale getting victories. Uh, Toru Yano's victory was over Jonah. Sorry, I had to laugh. Okada's victory came over Jeff Cobb, and Bad Luck Fale defeated Lance Archer in their opening matches of the A block in the G1. In B block, they are going to be running again. Looks like, let me think. Saturday night. It's gonna be their second night. It's gonna be their second matches in the block. The main event is gonna be Jay White, who's 1-0, going against Tomohiro Ishii. Okada against Toru Yano. So pair. Oh, it's actually a mix of the blocks. My apologies. This is gonna have B block match as the main event. Okada and Toru Yano from the A block, both 1-0. They'll be there. Um, See, now this is what's confused me. They're mixing all the blocks together. It's not like they have one. This is what happens when you When you book too many people for a tournament, you split up into 4 blocks instead of 2. Okay, now I get it. This is just confusing as all hell. Takagi's wrestled and lost his first match. Yoshihashi has not done anything yet. Zack Sabre Jr., Aaron Hanare, they're both 1-0 in the C block. And then it looks like a bunch of tag matches basically before that. So some G1 matches, some 6-man, 8-man, they're your tag matches. It's just a goddamn mess. Let's just be honest with ourselves. So this is going to be a lot harder to follow basically than it has been before. That's basically what I'm getting at with the 4 blocks. A block, we already seen that. All right, here we go. So B block, Tai Chi beat Ishii and Jay White beat Sonata. That's what happened in B block so far. C block, we saw ZSJ beat Kenta and Hanare beat Hiroshi Tanahashi. Okay. And then D block, let me try to find that table quick. Will Ospreay defeated El Phantasmo. Juice Robinson was the one who beat Takagi. Interesting. Okay. So it's going to be a slow developing tournament because of all the blocks you have, but hey, it is what it is. Meanwhile, on the U.S. side of New Japan, they've gotten down to the semifinals of the New Japan Strong Tag Team Tournament, and they're going to have one semifinal this coming week, which is Christopher Daniels and Uemura. They're going to take on TMDK, also formerly known as was it TK61, I think it was, if I remember correctly.
TM61.
TM61. Thank you. The other half of the semifinals are going to be Stray Dog Army. I don't remember honestly who that was. But they're going to be taking on either Dark Order, whoever's representing Dark Order in this tournament, or Aussie Open. Because it doesn't look like they've even had that quarterfinal match yet. But that's what's going on in New Japan. In other words, a whole lot of boredom. Yeah. But just so I keep people up to date a little bit on the G1 Climax and let them know what's up with that. But let's get into the real meat of it. Get your notes out, get your torches, get your pitchforks.
I'm working on it. Since my phone doesn't want to cooperate, I've actually got to pull it up on my desktop. It's all right. I can do it.
No, you're fine. I'm like a collective groan before I get into this because reasons. You know, we're going to touch on this a little more at the end of this segment because I do want to go over the Death Before Dishonored card, which is coming up this Saturday night in Lowell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to touch on it right now real quick while you're getting your notes up.
Okay.
So you mean to tell me you're in Ring of Honor World Champion, can defend the belt on your pre-recorded Friday night show, and the way you end up booking his match with a quasi storyline attached to it, by the way, for the pre-recorded Friday night match, and then your way of booking him for the pay-per-view is to have a dude come out and just stand at the top of the ramp and look intimidating at him after his title defense.
Because that's how you book on indie shows.
Which is funny because actually, now that you mention that, that reminds me. Did you hear what Road Dogg said this week?
I saw the stuff he said about Wardlow.
All right, give me a second. I'm going to open the link right now. So, Road Dogg was on a podcast affiliated with Sports Kita this week.
Just a reminder to everyone, Road Dogg does not currently work for any company.
Right. So, yes, in this interview, he does address Wardlow specifically the way they booked him when he was facing Orange Cassidy in his first title defense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what struck me was apparently this podcast host also asked what kind of advice he would give AEW.
Yep. But
So,
advice means he's throwing shade.
right, I'm gonna read. I'll read the first two sentences of this quote and just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, I would talk to them about television wrestling and what we're doing here. When you watch it, it looks like an indie show that somebody filmed with some nice cameras.
Yep.
Isn't that what we've been saying
Mm-hmm.
for the longest time now? That
Well,
everybody, all these people just they want AEW to be something more than it is. It's not.
because here's the thing, too. I kind of realized this. And I looked at Tony Khan's age and where he says he got most of his inspirations from. Now, mind you, Japanese wrestling usually isn't very storyline driven when it comes to, people that aren't gaijins. So you really can't go off of that. You could see, like, the style, fine. So Tony Khan watched Ring of Honor and he watched whatever indies were in his area, which was probably Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and shit like that. Or like, other indies in the area. So here's the problem with AEW. I mean, there's thousands, but here's what I think would be an umbrella issue. And this goes to people saying Tony Khan's booker of the year and blah blah blah. Okay, so as a booker and promoter, I will tell you that there are certain formulas that every indie booker / promoter goes by. And that's because your majority of indies run usually monthly, sometimes less. You don't find many indies that run on a weekly basis. You don't find, like sometimes you'll find like some like that may have like that may have a school and a decent following and their own building that'll run like bi-weekly. But for the most part, you're looking at indies that run every month to 6 weeks, which means they have to pack as much as they can into that one show to try to promote the next show. So they don't really focus on interview segments and pre-taped promos and all that stuff, even though we live in an age where you can do that with social media, but most companies choose not to. So they do stuff like have a guy stand on the ramp and stare down the guy for the next show and all that shit. It's fucking commonplace. The problem is that does not translate to national television when you have technically 2 shows a week on TV. You can't do indie booking after that. That's one of the advantages I am so thankful. One of the things I am so thankful for learning when I got in was the fact that we had trainers who worked for ECW who helped Paul Heyman put together a weekly product. And the thing is, Heyman, like a lot of guys in ECW, I'm not, it's, a lot of guys helped out in a lot of various facets, as people know, Dreamer and Bubba doing the merchandise, shit like that. So a lot of guys learned about putting together the show. So luckily I was in an environment where there were a handful of people that knew what it took to put on a weekly television show. And it also helps that we had friends who later on worked for WWE and then would, after they worked for WWE, would fill us in on stuff to show us how you run a weekly television show, because we like our old schools, we were running weekly shows. And it was rough at times, but we ran them. We did it to keep the doors open, Tony Khan obviously has never learned that weekly television show approach. And the thing is, he kind of has a couple people there that have, who he's not listening to. Like, as far as producing wise, you have JR and you have Arn Anderson. I don't know if Arn's still there or not in any capacity, but you have those two who were in the thick of things when it comes to running weekly shows for Vince. You could be listening to him, but you're not. And instead, you're running super indie. And that's why people were popping so hard for it its first year. And now it just keeps going down.
As I like to call it, it's called trying to fit 10 pounds of shit into a 5-pound bag.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of 10 pounds of shit into a 5-pound bag, let's dive right into it.
Mm-hmm. So are we covering last week's or just this week's?
I'm going to touch on some salient points from last week.
And okay, works for me. Works for me. I know, because we're in kind of an odd limbo spot right here.
So, the first thing I want to mention from last week is actually right off the rip of the show. Mm-hmm. This is something that you addressed to me, and then I kind of timed out using my DVR later. So, the opening match of last week's Dynamite was the Wardlow Orange Cassidy match. It took almost a full 8 minutes before an actual effective, productive offensive maneuver was connected. Which was an orange punch and then a belly-to-belly from Wardlow that sent Cassidy to the outside, I believe. And then they went right to picture-in-picture break.
8 minutes of fucking Gaga.
And that was Gaga between Wardlow, Cassidy, and I believe that's also during the match, part of the match when he dragged Danhausen out from out underneath the ring, I believe, too. Am I correct? Chainsaw? It was early in the match. Oh, yeah, right. Chainsaw, yep. Because, you know, there's a chainsaw underneath every wrestling ring.
Absolutely. Like, it was childish. And you figure, and people are like, oh, well, you know, Orange Cassidy he's a face and he's a really good worker. If you watch his match for Ospreay, and listen, I'm not going to debate Jim's talents, but I am going to debate the setup and execution of this fucking match because it made no fucking sense. Where you got the 8 minutes. In 8 minutes, 3 weeks prior, Wardlow beat 21 guys.
Yep. It was just
in half that time, he beat Scorpio Sky for the TNT title.
It was a whole lot. It was a whole lot of carny shit, basically. It was ridiculous.
You can't have a guy be a monster every week and then have him not be a monster one week just because he's facing the fucking company mascot. Oh, but wait. Well, he's not the company mascot anymore because we got a new mascot this week.
Are you talking about Chompy? Poor Nyla Rose. Poor Nyla Rose.
Did I miss something?
She was the one in the costume.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah. There was pictures taken backstage of her in the costume.
I didn't. Oh my god, that's oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my. Oh my god.
I was scrolling through Twitter last night and this morning, and there was a few AEW accounts that posted pictures of them with Nyla Rose in the costume.
That's fucking sad.
We all know Wardlow won and kept the title, so we'll just kind of fast forward through there. Here's another thing that we've addressed here and there, but it was more specific to whether or not it was necessary in a specific match. But this is just a general note that I need to make. I need to say out loud. I know AEW has gotten gimmick happy as far as their match booking.
You think?
We've discussed that before. But have they also gotten to a point where they rely too much on blood?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because the perfect example I have is the match between Mox and Takeshita from last week. Where was the point of anyone bleeding during that match? You can have a physical match, and I'm not even sure it's fully an AEW thing. Then it is a Mox thing at this point because he seems to be the prevailing theme,
Uh-huh.
the prevailing suspect within this theme. You can have a hard, strong style, and I'm using that phrase loosely in quotes
Mhm.
here. You can have a hard, strong style match without bleeding. It can be done, believe it or not. I know, shocker, it's breaking news. Breaking news. You can have a physical match without bleeding. All right?
Mhm.
Um, and I'll give you, this may not be the best example in the world, but just go back to when Keith Lee was in NXT and the matches he was having with Dominic Dijakovic.
Absolutely.
Like those were
Or even the matches they were having in Evolve before they got
those,
signed.
those were big dudes going after each other with everything. And guess what? They didn't have to fucking bleed.
Right.
Now, granted, they're also in a company where there's a big thing about bleeding, but at the same time, they didn't need it because everything they were doing to each other was telling the story in itself. You didn't need bleeding. You didn't need blood to add to the story.
Right.
It was not necessary.
Exactly.
Um, but
And
it's just ridiculous on this point.
it's Mox is now reminding me of. You ever watched the movie Kayfabe?
No, I don't think so.
I'll send you a link. It was this independent like mockumentary about indie wrestling. It's hilarious. And of course, and it's like it's got every stereotypical guy in the locker room, and there's the guy that has to blade for every fucking match. And it's Mox has become that character. Like dude, like okay, number one, let's go over the basics of the match and the setup. So Takeshita, who has not won a match on TV yet, and I'm not counting YouTube, mind you, I think Takeshita is very impressive. I think he's got a great look. I think his work is crisp, and I mean, he doesn't talk, so like you can't really tell his talk. But I think you could make something out of him. But the kid just keeps fucking losing, and then you go, oh, title eliminator match. So if he beats Mox, he gets a shot at the interim title. Number one, stop with this shot at the interim title shit. Like it's dumb. Like I like whatever. Just put that out to pasture. How is it that a guy who's like 0-12 is gonna get a title shot if he beats the champion? And that's okay when you call it a title eliminator match. But when you do the same thing on Raw, where you take someone and call it a number one contenders match, and if they beat the champion, they get a title match. Oh, that's stupid and dumb.
That's been a prevailing argument for a while now, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. And then if it's just a regular ass non-title match, like once again, why are you blading for it? Like, I get it, it's your fetish. Like some people just like fucking one of the first times I met Matt Tremont, one of the first shows I worked with him. I was an ISW show and going over stuff that he's going to go before the match, and he was like, "All right, I get to bleed tonight," because he likes to. It's his thing. Fine, whatever. But he wasn't going to blade until he was told so.
Right.
But then when you give the guy who loves to blade the title and give him creative control, he just keeps fucking gigging. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I guess I'm firmly on the on one side of the fence. I'm a Dean Ambrose fan, not a Jon Moxley fan. Like, I dug early Moxley before he was signed. I became a bigger fan when he got signed of Dean Ambrose, and it seems like every good part of that is gone, and he's just indie guy blading every fucking 10 minutes. Goes to the outside for every match. Oh, yeah, stopwatch. 3 minutes and 18 seconds into the match before he took it to the outside. Because he takes every match to the outside. Like, I'm sorry. There's no point. There's no point.
And let me.
And then I said, fuck this game and turn the show off.
That sounds about right. I also want to provide an argument here.
Okay.
Um, because, and I haven't heard this yet, but I have a feeling it's probably a way that the Goblins would want to defend him.
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna say, well, you know, he that's how he was before he got signed by WWE, so he's gonna resort back to it. No, there's a
No.
difference. There's a difference. The Moxley pre NXT, he was a young, hungry, psychotic motherfucker who
Hmm.
would do anything
Hmm.
to get his name out there. He doesn't have to do any of this shit anymore, number one.
Right.
Number two, if he's trying to refer back to that version of himself, he's doing a poor job because the way his promos don't hit that way
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't come off that way anymore. Like, oh, because you went to Japan for a few tours, you won the US heavyweight title twice. Like, is that supposed to change the thought process? Because
It's
he's using a more, again, I used to use it, I'm using this term loosely again, like a more strong style kind of approach to his fighting. Like, that doesn't that shouldn't be allowed to be an excuse for you to revert back to your old ways that you can't even pull off the same way as you did before.
I think, in all honesty, I think this way about him and a couple other people. I think the money has gone to their head. And it's just like, I'm getting paid an insane amount of money right now, and I've got quote unquote creative control. You know something? I don't care. Like, and that's, you saw that a lot. And here we go. Oh no, another person's comparing AEW to WCW. But this is the way it was in the end days of WCW, with people getting overinflated fucking checks and just not caring anymore because they were getting paid regardless.
Just doing shit for the sake of doing shit.
Right. Like, that should be the motto on someone's shirt for, was one of the AEW main eventers. Paid regardless. Like, and it's happening with Mox, and sadly it's happening with Kingston too. And I fucking love Eddie, but I don't know what has happened lately, but Eddie just doesn't give a fuck anymore.
I mean, let's just think through this. Nash was like that. Hall was like that. Scott
Hogan,
Steiner, I'd argue, was like that. Hogan was like
Luger.
that. Luger, I think, just didn't give a fuck by the end, honestly.
I think Luger never gave a fuck, and Luger was always in it for the money.
Well, that's a very good argument to have another day.
Mm.
Maybe after his biography shows up on A&E. Because I'm pretty sure he's in this series that's coming out, right?
This season, yeah.
By the way, quick, quick off branch here. Who the fuck decided the Bella Twins deserved a biography?
The marketing team. You know something? That doesn't bother me as much as the fact that they have an episode of Rivals.
With who? Themselves?
No, Brie and Stephanie.
Oh, fuck off.
See, that's way worse.
Oh, fuck off.
That's way worse.
So they're going to follow up the Bella Twins biography with that? Oh, God. Put the kids to bed and go to bed yourself, why don't you? Jesus. Anyways, all right. This will connect both shows actually. Last week and this week's Dynamite. So oh, that's a rightful bark by him. That's very rightful. It's a righteous bark. So how about the big bad angry dinosaur looking dude, huh? Yeah. Yeah. I see you shaking your head as you're trying to address your dog in the background there. Yeah. Fuck, you can shake your head all you fucking want. Because here's the situation. So last week he beat the shit out of Griff Garrison and eventually lays out Pillman as well after the match, puts him on the announce table and chokeslams Garrison onto Pillman through the table after 2 attempts, by the way, because the first attempt for some reason didn't break the table. But then you fast forward to this week. It's Cage and Luchasaurus against the Varsity Blondes in tag team action. Luchasaurus does all the heavy work. Christian tags in to get the pin on Garrison. And then, in the midst of apparently celebrating, here comes Jungle Boy waltzing down the ramp slowly but surely with a steel chair in his hand. And Luchasaurus is at the end of the entranceway
Mm-hmm.
before you get in the official ringside area, and him and Jungle Boy face off,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's like, "All right, what the fuck's gonna happen here?" Luchasaurus just stepped aside. Jungle Boy went right on through.
Uh-huh.
Chase Cage all the way up through the crowd.
Uh-huh.
Good to see the upper bowl wasn't full at all.
Yeah, more than that, too.
And something tells me you're not completely sold. That was Luchasaurus saying "fuck off" to this heel turn, huh?
Nope.
You're not
Because
completely sold.
all he did was stand aside. He didn't chase him down with him. He just stood next to him. And you know why? Because this is Tony Khan's edgy booking. It's gonna be a swerve, bro.
You really think he's smart enough to have Luchasaurus step out of the way 1 week and then end up still being with Christian Cage the next week?
Yep. Swerve, bro.
That doesn't make any fucking yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You expect this to make sense? They're going to do one of two things. They're either going to do Swerve Bro and he's going to go ultra heel, or they're going to put Luchasaurus in that Great Khali / Big Show angle where the dude who's got him has some incriminating evidence on him or something, like the thing that they did with Steph and Big Show, or the thing they did with Jinder and Khali, where it's like, you have to obey me.
Oh, that's great. Another thing that's bugging me. Can't you just introduce JR during a fucking commercial break before you start the second hour of Dynamite?
Nope, we have to do it on TV.
Do we have to waste 30 to 45 seconds here in the Oklahoma fight song?
Yep, because we have to let people know that JR is still part of this show, and we have to pop the 9 o'clock rating.
People know that they're watching already. They're gonna know that JR is on if once you just open the mics at the start of the second hour, and you'll still get the pop. You'll still get the pop in the arena if you do it during a fucking commercial break.
And you see, the thing is, the people watching already, you and I know this. But this is where
they attract new fans by having an 80-year-old guy walking out onto the set, tipping his cowboy hat and sitting down.
Once again, I know this and you know this, but this is where Tony Khan wants to have his cake and eat it too. He's catering to the niche audience, but he thinks doing this will cater to casuals.
Or he's catering to JR because JR is being a dick, which I don't think he is. But
no, JR just don't give a fuck anymore. JR's another one. He's getting paid and he just doesn't give a fuck. Paid regardless.
I finally have to admit something that I probably should have admitted a while ago, but it was very, very noticeable last week on Dynamite.
Okay.
Ever since starting MMA training, Jake Hager has completely lost his ring timing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was supremely evident in his match against Claudio.
Yep. And these two guys knew each other.
They knew each other. They traveled with each other. They fucking tag teamed with each other.
Right.
And there was just certain points where I'm just like, oh, fucking Jake. Jesus,
exactly.
Stop. Just stop.
Bad. Well, I mean, besides let's throw out the garbage, like, arena and fucking Stampede matches and shit. How many actual matches has Hagar had in AEW? 1, 2?
I was going to say somewhere like around a half dozen.
Not counting the Gaga matches.
Yeah.
I don't think he's even.
And that's being generous, I think. But I'd say around 4 to 6 is my
guess. Honestly, I can't even I can't think of one. I can think of the Anarchy in the Arena matches. I can think of the Stadium Stampede matches. I can think of the MMA match he had with Wardlow. I can't think of a regular ass match that Hager has had.
Let me see here. Let me try to figure this out. But I know there's
Blood and Guts, obviously. I mean, I can't think of a regular match.
Oh, here we go. Oh, look at these sad people who actually track all these fucking things. This
what, cage match?
No. Oh. ProFightDB.com keeps a running list of matches for everybody. All right, so he signed with AEW and debuted in early 2020.
Mm-hmm.
His first match was at Revolution in 2020. He beat Dustin Rhodes.
Okay, so one regular match.
All right. And then he Dynamite the next week beats QT Marshall.
Okay, so two.
Well, I'm going to skip everything that involves Dark, by the way.
Right.
Him, Ortiz, and Santana beat Page and Cody and Matt Jackson in a 6-man tag.
3.
Hager beats Chico Adams.
4.
Double or Nothing. Oh, that was Stadium Stampede. Skip that. Him, Ortiz, and Santana lose to Best Friends and Orange Cassidy in a 6-man tag.
5.
He loses to Cody, which was a TNT title shot.
Okay, so those are all in 2020?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me fast forward to 2021, just for shits and giggles. New Year's Smash, he loses to Wardlow.
I thought that was the MMA match.
What's up?
I thought that was the MMA match.
No.
Oh, okay. They had a regular match.
That wasn't until June.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Then Hager and Guevara lose in a 3-way tag against MJF and Jericho and Ortiz and Santana.
Okay.
Tag Team Battle Royal. We'll skip that. He beat Brandon Cutler on free TV. Oh my god. That's ridiculous. Blood and Guts will skip. Stadium Stampede will skip. MMA will skip. So we had 4, 5, 6. No, that's on Dark. Sorry. He had 5 non-gimmick-ish matches in 2021.
Yeesh.
And then to start this year.
This year, I don't think he's had any regular ass matches.
Well, no, he had a tag match with him and Jericho lost to Ortiz and Santana and Dynamite in February.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And then they had a 6-man tag in April that they won, which was Jericho, Garcia, Hager beating Kingston, Ortiz, and Santana. Then Anarchy in the Arena. Then he lost to Kingston on Rampage. And then since then, there was the Casino Battle Royale, Blood and Guts, and then last week against Claudio.
Right. So still, like you're talking about
4 this year.
Less than 10 regular matches a year. Like that's beyond ring rust.
Right.
That's less than your mid-card indie guy works.
Right. We got back-to-back weeks of Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm starting out an interview segment and then getting interrupted by Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter in the end.
I'm telling you, Tony Khan's going to introduce a women's tag belt in the next couple of months.
And last week, when Britt and Hayter first did it, Britt had to make a sandbag reference and drop the sandbag in Tony's hands and tell Tony to try carrying it around for a month. But sure, fuck it.
Because we gotta fucking throw shade whenever possible about shit that only fucking internet marks talk about.
And then we're making a big deal over this random ass chick, Layla Gray, trying to join the baddies. Can I just ask a question? Where the fuck is Red Velvet during all this? Like,
she's hurt.
Apparently, she's hurt, but everything about her on social media the last few weeks doesn't seem like she's hurt.
So then I have no clue.
So she's just sitting at home collecting a paycheck. She's pulling a... Never mind.
Paid regardless.
Yeah, okay. Like, how is this a big storyline? Like,
because reasons.
Like, it's literally on every fucking show, it seems like. Both Dynamite and Rampage.
Reasons, baby.
Like, is Stokely Hathaway really that good?
Well, I mean, yeah.
He is, but like... Some stupid
Stokely should be getting fucking Red Velvet Jades and his pay.
No shit. What about Kiera Hogan's too?
Yes, he should be getting all their pay. Like they should be getting a percentage of his pay.
What else? All right, so let me jump on the end of last week's show. Swerve and Keith Lee winning the belts.
Swerve, bro.
Are you just saying that for the fact that Swerve won, or are you saying that because you feel like that's what Tony Khan was thinking?
That's what Tony Khan was thinking.
Did it really shock you, though? Aside from the fact of who was wearing the belts.
I mean, no, like it's just he did it. He did it to appease to Keith Lee because Keith's going through some personal shit,
Right.
which is well and good. Give him some extra TV time in the meantime because he's going through some rough stuff. I won't fault Keith Lee for that, but they're just a stopgap because we all know that the end of this story ends with the Young Bucks holding 4 sets of titles.
You're going to sit there and tell me you think that all the belts from FTR and the AEW belts are going to be around Young Bucks' waists?
Yes.
I'm going to ignore that and just move on.
Dude, I told you this weeks ago. It's gonna happen. The Young Bucks even fucking admitted to it.
Any hooser. So then another prevailing storyline has been Brody King chokes out Darby to win the Battle Royal to get the title shot he eventually lost to Mox.
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't know. Darby said some shit at some point.
Yep.
Then they have Brody King do a fucking pre-planned attack on Darby at some fucking signing on a random weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Rampage last week, we have Malachi and Brody beat the shit out of Silver and Reynolds. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that coming.
Yeah.
But then as they're leaving, Black goes through the tunnel. Brody is turning away from the crowd to go towards the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And we got fucking Ricky Tikki Tavi jumping off the fucking entryway. Darby Allin. And if you don't know who Ricky Tikki Tavi is, go look it up. It's from my childhood. Fucking look it up.
The mongoose.
Yes.
But what was funny was Botchamania did it with a thwomp.
There. He jumps off the fucking tunnel to attack Brody. And instead of Malachi coming back out and jumping right in to break up the fracas, he just fucking stands there, almost as if to say, Sting, where the fuck are you? Sting, where the fuck are you? You missed your cue, Sting. Come on, Steve, get the fuck out of here, Steve.
Yep.
And then Sting finally comes out and he has a face-off with Malachi Black while they're still rolling around like two girls fighting over a pet. I don't know.
You ain't taking my daughter to see that death metal band.
In the midst of all this, Miro has been cutting vignettes the last few weeks since Forbidden Door against Malachi Black.
Uh-huh.
And then everything fucking crashes into each other on Wednesday night because Brody beats the fuck out of Darby in a victory. And I mean beat the fuck out of Darby properly.
Like Darby did to his exes.
Wow, okay. Jesus Christ.
Had nothing to do with this.
Fucking God almighty. So then Brody decides he's going to choke out Darby again because fuck it, why not? Malachi comes out, spits the mist. By the way, nice shot, Malachi, because also
didn't hit him at all.
Plus, it got on Brody's face a little bit, so shouldn't Brody technically be blinded as well from being hit with the mist? But that's whatever.
Yeah.
Again, wait, Steve. Steve.
Steve.
It's Sting! Fuck off.
Paid regardless. So this is all going to set up a fucking 6-man.
Whenever the fuck Buddy decides to show back up again.
Right.
Because that's the one person that hasn't been around.
And this is literally your crippled ass indie booking. We had fucking this guy attacked this week and this guy attacked the following week.
Well, we didn't get to the full circle moment though.
Oh, I know. Go ahead.
So Sting comes down. Oh wait, that's right. The mist wasn't for Darby. It's for when Sting came down. Sting tried to even the odds, and fucking Brody got Sting into the chokehold they had on Darby, and that's when Malachi shot the mist or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. So then that all happens, and then what the fuck happens? Pardon me. Fucking Miro.
Yep.
Horns go off, music plays. Miro comes out.
Because apparently Miro's a babyface now.
And does the indie halfway walk down the ramp. And just stare. Don't help. Just fucking stare. Because I don't know about you, but if I were heels, I'd stop what I was doing. Just look at the face coming down the ramp and not doing anything. That would stop me. I want to keep beating on the basically knocked out 150-pound guy and then the now blinded 60-year-old guy. No, I'd stop beating them up. No, fuck that. Let me watch this guy go halfway down the ramp and stop and not do anything.
Right.
Like, and like here's the real pisser of it all. Are we really supposed to believe that Malachi Black and Sting is a match people want?
Oh yeah, because darkness,
face paint.
Yeah, and and we want fucking Malachi Black and Miro because we could have never had that in WWE.
Actually, wait a fucking minute.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Was that one of Malachi's last fucking matches in WWE? Or am I just thinking shit?
Maybe. I don't know.
Now I'm wondering, hang on. Hang the fuck on. Let me think about this. Because if you remember correctly, he disappeared off TV. Came back for like 3 weeks. And then was fired.
February 2019.
I want to make sure I've got this right in my head.
Aleister Black was in like this big mix-up, and he was tagging with Ricochet against Nakamura and Rusev, and then they added Ali into it on one side, and yeah.
But like he's all right. So what am I thinking of here? Okay, so he loses to Seth. This is when Seth was doing the whole thing with him and Murphy and
yeah, I don't think that was 2020. I don't think that was happening, but this all happened early 2019.
What am I missing here? So he basically comes back. He comes back, has 2 matches on Raw Underground, and then beats KO 3 straight times on Raw and then disappears.
Right.
I thought he was on fucking SmackDown when he left, though.
They were doing the vignettes, but he never appeared. Well, no, he showed up. They were doing the vignettes, and then he showed up and knocked out Big E, and then they fired him. Yeah.
That's what that was. That's right. That's right. He showed up on... that's right. Now everything comes clear. Okay. All right. Anything else really of note from Rampage? I guess a couple things. Number one, this goes back to the Ring of Honor stuff. Gresham retains the title. Him and Tully do a post-match interview with Tony in the ring. And that's the Claudio walkout.
Yeah. The thing is, Gresham doesn't need a manager. Gresham can talk.
Right.
Gresham's only downfall is his height.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
And plus, here's something that still kind of bugs me. So they flipped Gresham heel for no reason whatsoever.
Essentially.
So now you've got Gresham and Lethal both as heels, both talking about being the foundation, but they're not the foundation anymore.
Right.
Not to mention the fact that the reason Gresham is right after Gresham became champ, Lethal turned heel on him.
Right.
But now they're both heels.
Yep.
And Lethal, who was going for The ROH title is more concerned with the ROH TV title.
Yeah.
Shitty indie booking.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when you don't have a television show for a company and you decide 3 months after you fucking bought it to run a second show and just throw together fucking matches for it. Because we all know who is going over in every fucking match, because on one side, you've got people that are employed by AEW, and on the other side, you've got guys who were once employed by Ring of Honor who are getting brought in for this one shot.
Right. As far as this week is concerned, we pretty much touched on a bunch of it already. Swerve and Keithley were doing their their celebration this week, and then
I've got
fucking.
a lot of notes about this week though.
All right. Where you want to start?
Well, so we covered Darby and Sting. So I mean Darby and Sting. We covered the
Darby
opener.
and Brody.
Yeah. So then we have to get to the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Best Friends.
Oh yeah, Mox and Yuta.
Yeah, so that's when I had just gotten home from the hospital and I turned on Dynamite and I said, "This is my reward for coming home." So pull up that first picture.
Would it be this one, sir?
No, well that one works too, but the one after that, the one with Mox in the ring.
This one?
Nope.
What other fucking picture did you send me?
The one that it was the duel. It had the thing about talking shit about SummerSlam not filling an arena.
Oh yeah. All right, give me a sec. But go on the diatribe you're gonna go on.
So it's hilarious. Like, okay, so let me see. Let me pull up my notes on this. So see, Wheeler Yuta, don't fucking get it. Oh look, Mox to the outside with a weapon. Fake elbows and a table tease. Yuta takes 2 fucking pile drivers in a row and kicks out.
Yep.
Crowd chants, "This is awesome." No, it's not. Fuck off, basement goblins. What is the fucking point of having pockets on commentary?
There really wasn't none. I don't think he really said anything, honestly.
No, he doesn't. That's the thing. He doesn't talk. And fucking. So we have this whole bullshit match. Yeah, did you get that picture loaded?
Almost done. Yes.
Okay. So the whole thing was this picture starts circulating the fucking internet, and I had one motherfucker say, "Oh, that was from Elevation." No, it wasn't. That is Jon Moxley standing right there with the AEW title. That is Wheeler Yuta behind him, and that is Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor on the other side of the ring. That is obviously 2 matches into Dynamite.
I simply remember this because Hard Cam was looking at Moxley's back when he makes this pose.
Exactly. And here's the other thing, and that's it. Number 1, Moxley has officially forgotten everything he learned about working television. Because this is one of the things I learned from Credible when he first got signed and was doing the Aldo Montoya gimmick. He got yelled at for not playing to hard cam when he came out on entrance. And he's like, "I'm so used to just playing to where the crowd is."
Right.
And he's like, "I never felt comfortable playing to an empty side of the arena." So, but if you notice, the other argument is, "Oh, well, every TV, they have to tarp off the hard cam side." No. I have been to plenty of shows to tell you that sometimes, yes, and we've even talked about it on the show, where yes, sometimes they do, and they'll block off the 5 to 10 rows in a centralized area where the hard cam goes, so it doesn't pick up side noise, or if they have to have a crane. But luckily, with the advent of better high definition camera work, they don't need to rope off as much space. But not only that, there are go back to that first picture that I told you, the one that's got the black dot stuck on it because of whoever's camera.
This one?
Yes. So that is on the side facing, on the side of the entranceway, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 empty sections on the other side of the arena. 9. But they're not completely empty because the picture with Mox holding up the belt, there's a smattering of like 10 people in random ass seats in the section directly behind
Yeah.
the fucking hard camera. It's so fucking pathetic that there is physical proof. And I got into an argument with a fucking basement goblin last week who I found out is a worker, who is obviously a shitty worker, who was sitting there sucking AEW's cock while I was putting up pictures of the last 2 times I went to the XL Center with packed seats and the setup. Because like WWE cuts the arena in half too. No, they don't. Here's a picture. They block off where the hard cam is. No, they don't. Here's a picture. They didn't sell out. Yeah, they did. Here's 2 pictures. Yeah, and they just keep moving the goalposts. And I'm like, you're fucking basement goblin. You're, fuck you, blah, blah. And then turned out that this guy's a shitty indie worker from Michigan. Hi, if you're a promoter in Michigan and someone named Nate Mansions contacts you for a booking, don't book him. He's a piece of shit.
Well, that's nice. That's real nice.
Who wants to sit there and kiss Tony Khan's dick because he thinks that way he'll get booked on Dark when it comes to town next time. Even though that's not how that works. And any worker who knows that would know that. So you got this empty ass arena. You got all this bullshit. You got all the tropes of your Moxley match. Why is Moxley in this throwaway fucking tag match? Why is your champion in a throwaway fucking enhancement job or tag match? Oh, why? Because we have to drive home the fact that Wheeler Yuta has a fake pure title match on Saturday against Daniel Garcia. So the only way we can do this is to have Wheeler Yuta go over in a match and then show Daniel Garcia watching the monitor in the back. Once again, when WWE does this, though, it's hokey and played out. Just saying. So that was that match. Any other notes on that match?
No, not on that match. Nope, I'm good.
So then we get the celebration from Swerve and Keith Lee. Mm-hmm. I have come to one conclusion. Keith Lee's AEW entrance music is only about half a degree less annoying than Rob Van Dam's TNA entrance music.
I'm trying to remember it. Hold on.
You don't remember Rob Van Dam's TNA entrance music?
Off the top of my head, it's not.
Rob Van Dam! Whole effing show! Yell 3 words! Yeah, 3 more words!
That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah.
Yeah. That fucking bad.
Rob Van Dam. The whole effing show.
So terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so apparently we're going to get, so they're the new champions, and because AEW doesn't do instant rematches, we obviously can't have the Young Bucks come right out and be like, we want our titles back. So we've got to do a throwaway match with Mark Sterling and Tony Nese first.
The cake and Sterling's face was kind of funny, I'll say.
Yeah, and you know something? Here's what's really funny.
What?
AEW hates Cornette so much, but loves using his old fucking stories. I was literally, I don't know why, but it was maybe a month ago or so. I think I was listening to like an old Cornette omnibus, and he was talking about stuff that he did in when they was working for Watts. And he talked about setting up the TV spot with the cake and a celebration with the midnight and the cake, and how at the end Cornette ends up with the cake in his face. So it's really funny how they hate Cornette so much, but have no problem using his old angles.
Well, next on the show, you have Butcher and Blade attacking Silver and Reynolds instead of being kosher and doing the backstage interview that they were trying to do. And then Hangman chases Butcher and Blade off with a steel chair.
Because it wouldn't be AEW if we didn't have a backstage interview segment that ended up in a beatdown.
Yep. Then we get Gun Club being interviewed by Lexi, and apparently
we're going to get a rap battle
between Austin Gunn and Max Caster, because that's what everybody wants.
Why?
I don't know. By the way, have you noticed they've been kind of phasing Lexi in more for the backstage interview segments?
Yeah.
And phasing out Tony?
Yeah.
And using him just for the in-ring stuff or for commentary?
Yeah. Which they shouldn't use Tony for commentary at all.
Interesting. Although I think the commentary for most of that first hour was just Sockface and Taz.
Yeah.
This
which
week.
Is bad.
Well. Then we get Ricky Starks retaining the FTW title over Cole Carter, a.k.a. Stacks. Nice to see that
Stacks...
Or Two Dimes, whatever. Nice to see he made it out of the river okay.
Yeah. And I'm sure MJF is pleased as punch that in the past fucking week, 2 more NXT rejects got fucking signed to contracts.
Who was the other one that I missed?
Parker Boudreaux.
Ha! Good luck with that.
Yeah, they put him that they're like, well, you don't know he got signed because he was on Dark. They had him go over, and then they put him in a stable with fucking fucking Arya Davari and someone else. They made him as the heavy of a stable. I'm like, well, guess what? He's obviously fucking signed then. And here's the thing. So fucking what was it? The great quote there? Let's see here. Fucking JR. Oh no, Cole Carter. He's got a good physique. Yeah, JR. Ask him how he got it. And here's honestly, I want to know something though. Like, obviously, the WWE won't release it. They just said that he violated a policy. So most likely it was a drug policy.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it was steroids or if it was like meth. Because he's not that jacked of a guy.
He's just in good shape, that's all.
He's in good shape. But this is my reasoning on thinking. And maybe not meth. Maybe I should say something like ecstasy, like a party drug. Mm-hmm. This is kind of the way I'm thinking is these NXT guys who aren't getting pushed because they're impatient as fuck are talking to their buddies who are over in AEW and are being told that Tony Khan's a sucker and will sign you to a contract as soon as you're a free agent. And obviously NXT guys have a 30-day window, but if you get fired, there's no window.
So you're saying people are fucking up on purpose?
Yes. I'm going to go to a party. I'm going to take a drop of ecstasy and, oh, there's a piss test? Oh, well, I got fired. Calls Tony Khan.
I mean...
This guy was a no-name who literally signed to fucking NXT fucking 3 months ago.
I know.
There's no reason he should have a contract. None. And Parker Boudreaux, he got released because he wasn't improving. Mm-hmm. Like, they were willing to make that kid the next fucking Brock. Mm-hmm. They put a lot of fucking work into trying to promote his ass. And they had to give him a different look and had to make him a fucking heavy that never spoke because obviously he wasn't improving in any aspect of the wrestling business. But Tony Khan thinks that this is going to be his next big thing. No pun intended.
So now we got to wait for Gable Steveson to be the next Brock.
Yeah.
Except he's a little shorter.
Yeah. But I mean, it seems a little too suspect to me.
No, you're probably in the ballpark. I'm not gonna shoot that down.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fail a piss test so I can get signed by fucking Tony Khan. Like, that's what it feels like. And I'm sorry, Ricky. Like, and this is why people are all like, why ask me why I'm on team fuck Ricky Starks, because the dude goes out there, has a heel match. Cuts a heel promo, and then as he's walking back up the ramp is high-fiving fans. Mm-hmm. No, dude! That's shitty indie worker 101 right there. I literally had to work a match once. It was a spot show for a company that doesn't run regularly, who I got brought in, and I actually had to be a babyface manager, which I pulled off. But so we told the other dude, you have to be the heel tonight. Fucking Buzz Bloodsaw. Kid doesn't listen to a goddamn fucking thing. Tell him you have to be the heel. What does he do? He comes out, he goes right over and starts high-fiving fans in the crowd. Stupid.
Oh boy. You didn't even mention the even stupider thing of all that.
You're probably going to remind me, and it's in my notes, and I just skipped right over it.
Fucking Danhausen's now going to fight him?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Danhausen for the FTW title. Which, just have Danhausen be a manager. Seriously.
I know. We discussed this.
He's funny. Don't have him work. Don't have him work. What was this? Oh, for fuck's sake. No, oh, yeah. Next week has a name, too.
Oh, Fight for the Fallen.
Yep.
Yeah.
A special episode of Dynamite. If every episode is a special episode, then nothing is a special episode.
Oh, they're all special episodes. They're all special episodes. You know why? Because the opening match this past week had the House of Black. Then we get an interview backstage with Athena, Stat, and Willow Nightingale. God, why can't Willow just get to NXT already? Fucking
that I'm waiting because she's not signed to a guaranteed contract.
That's my point.
And I love Willow Nightingale, and she is 0-35 there.
I know.
Dude, if anyone fucking deserves it, it's Willow. And it's one of the what people say well, you shit on everything in AEW. No, I fucking love Willow Nightingale, and she deserves so much fucking better. I love Eddie Kingston, and I don't know what the fuck happened to him.
No, we'll get to that. Then we get FTR in the ring with Tony, and now suddenly this match at Death Before Dishonor is going to be 2 out of 3 falls, because reasons again?
Because they need to hype it up, and because what was FTR's best match of all time? A 2 out of 3 falls match.
With American Alpha, yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous. And dude, Tony Khan is going to get in trouble with Warner Discovery. He's going to get in trouble. Because they don't want the Briscoes on TV. So number one, you automatically know that FTR is going over on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But Tony Khan is really pushing the whole, well, I can't have Briscoes on TV, but that doesn't mean I can't mention them every 10 seconds. No, they're going to be yo, we said we don't want them on TV. That means we don't want to mention of them either. That's what when they told them to pull shit with MJF, they said pull every graphic with them and pull every mention of him.
Right. They're
going to get fucking pissed at that. And so he's going to get nailed for it. And then, of course, fucking... oh, Jesus. Fucking goddamn fucking sock face.
What do you call them again?
The Blascos.
Oh, lovely.
That was later on in the program.
Yeah, I know.
When he was going over the fucking card, reading fucking 85 miles per minute, like he does.
Yeah.
Oh, and let's cover the matchup, but there's another critique I have on Sockface, but I'll wait until we've covered the rest of the matches first.
Okay. Lethal, Sanjay, and Singh backstage, basically to set up Daniels versus Lethal this week on Rampage.
Because Lethal has to have a match where he goes over before he faces Joe, so we can remind people that Lethal's a viable contender.
Then we get Jade and Kiera beating Willow and Athena in tag action.
Because Will has to do the job. But I'm telling you, Tony Khan's going to introduce a women's tag belt. Look, you've got Athena and Statlander. You've got Kiera and Jade. You've got fucking Hayter and Britt. You've got fucking Conti and Jay. You've got he's been building women's tag teams.
Nyla Rose and Marina I couldn't even finish it.
Thunderstorm.
Yeah. Speaking of Thunderstorm, So they had a segment, they had a backstage segment again this week to basically set up Britt and Hayter jumping in and saying they're going to be on Rampage this week, and also set up that next week on Fight for the Fallen, Mio Yamashita gets her AEW Women's Title shot
because
against
she
Thunder
won
Rosa.
in an indie match against Thunder Rosa that then they aired on YouTube to be like, oh, it was an eliminator match.
Right. Then we get to. By the way, I came to a conclusion on something because I paid attention to the Tron when they played the music. That was not JAS music. That was Jake Hager's entrance music.
Jesus. So not better.
But still, it's not specific to JAS. It was specifically just Jake Hager's entrance music.
Yeah.
Because I know you originally thought, oh, JAS had music all along. No,
Right.
no, JJ. It was Hager's. No.
Wonderful.
So I'll reiterate once again what we usually say on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Fuck Judas. Yep. So then we get to, I guess when they said barbed wire everywhere, they meant barbed wire everywhere.
Dude, that was so fucking like. You can tell that they literally just put shit everywhere in that 3 minutes they used with that Game of Thrones fucking commercial.
They took pre-wrapped slabs of barbed wire and attached them to 3 of the 4 sides of the ring ropes.
Mm-hmm.
They had a spider web of barbed wire
in
the entrance area,
mm-hmm.
a table with barbed wire on top of it on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
There was a steel chair wrapped in barbed wire. Jericho brought out his bat wrapped in barbed wire.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking microphone that Justin Roberts was fucking holding was wrapped in barbed wire.
Timekeeper's bell.
The ring bell, yes. And oh, by the way, about that microphone, so Eddie doesn't even wait for Justin to finish his intro. He grabs the microphone, hits Jericho in the head, and then when Kingston is walking away from Jericho, the opposite side of the ring to test the microphone and say something into it, which I didn't really get to catch what he fucking said. You can clearly see Jericho pull out the blade.
Yep. But let me back it up a second. Let me back it up just 1 second. So you obviously can tell that they tried to make a gap of time for them to set up the barbed wire for it. Now, from experience, I will tell you, I have been involved on some shows that have had barbed wire associated matches. Yeah, shocking. One such show was it was a triple threat for a title, and it was a big culmination match, and it was a no rope barbed wire 3-way. What we did was we had a second intermission, the second shorter intermission, obviously to let the fans know that we had to set up the barbed wire ropes. We had to take the regular ropes and set up the barbed wire. Now, mind you, we had a crew of maybe 4 people that day. Mm-hmm. And to get the ropes off and to run the barbed wire, total time 10 to 13 minutes with 4 people. They could have gotten a better setup with that if they had just taken a little bit more time and they had taken any of those, all of that shit they had to do about ROH, if they had just moved it over to that end block and run those promos back to back while they were setting up the ring, it could have looked a lot better. Because that literally, like the shit on the ropes just looked like they just took like bunched up barbed wire and threw it over the ropes and said, fuck it, we're done.
Yeah.
That's what a shitty indie does. You are a nationally televised product. And this is horrible. I know the bar is set kind of low, but in all honesty, when it was all said and done, I firmly believe that this was the worst match that AEW has ever put on every level. Worst match ever. And I know people say it a lot, and it's and I think AEW is a pretty goddamn awful company, but this was the worst match they've ever done.
Well, can I fast forward the clusterfuck at the end?
Absolutely.
All right. So, because reasons, Ruby Soho was controlling the lift for the cage.
I thought her hand was supposed to be hurt.
It was in the. It wasn't like a full cast. It was like one of those air cast things. At least they had something on it to fucking sell it. All right, like, it could have been nothing. I'm not trying to excuse him. Just saying, at least it was something. So Ruby Soho's sitting ringside with this fake ass remote that really does nothing, but
Yep.
does. They're trying to play off like it does something, and she's holding the fucking key to the cage that the referee gave her, or Aubrey gave her, after she locked the cage, which we'll come back to in a moment.
Uh-huh.
So we're getting out the match, and then Ty Conti comes out because let's remember to lock everybody up except for two people. The second one's
Right.
coming up in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So Conti comes out. She attacks Ruby Soho. Then NJ comes out and pulls off Ty Conti and tries to reason with her, apparently. But then NJ herself turns and clocks Ruby.
So 2 weeks after the Dark Order saying the Dark Order's not going anywhere, Anna Jay has left the Dark Order.
Right. So at that point now, Conti grabs the key while Anna grabs the big ass fucking control board, I guess, and pushes a button that clearly would not lower a cage. Like you have like if you look at the remote closely, you have all these fucking little switches, and then you have one button that looks like the fuck up button, the circle red one in the corner. And what one does she fucking use? The I fucked up button. Okay, that's clearly not going to lower the cage, but whatever. So the cage is plus the timing was all between the cage lowering and whatever. But whatever. That's AEW for you. The cage is being lowered. The cage gets down. Ty Conti clearly is having a fuck ton of problem trying to unlock this fucking padlock with the key.
Because she's a stupid bitch.
To the point where Daniel Garcia and Parker both said, fuck this shit. They could fit between the bars of the cage.
Not to mention
that way.
Not to mention the cage was supposed to be suspended above the ring.
Yeah, why is it over in the crowd?
It was over in the crowd, suspended like 5 feet above the people. Like literally, like you could at any time one of them could have slipped out and just went boop down to the floor without a problem.
Yeah.
Like at least like I've always thought shark cage stuff was stupid, but at least when WWE did it, the cage was above the fucking ring.
And NWA.
Yeah. But I'm just saying in recent years.
Right. So and then Menard and Hager eventually get out and join in. Mm-hmm. But while they try jumping Kingston, then Ortiz and Mox and Yuta and Claudio come out.
Because we need more fucking interference. And we need the AEW champion out there for no reason.
We need more fuckery, because why not? So this whole brawl's going on outside or whatever. And then the second guy that was in the fucking cage, fucking Sammy Guevara, who they thought was still out from when he got
still injured from landing on the fucking crash pad.
Yeah, of course. He shows up and ends up helping Jericho get the pinfall victory.
Dude, no, we need to back up to that fucking sequence of the finish.
What? Eddie swinging wildly and then...
No. So we start off with Jericho doing a code breaker with the chair, which looked like shit. And then
the chair didn't even hit Eddie.
And then Jericho giving the worst looking chair shots I've ever seen. People say WWE chair shots look fake. These looked even more fake. Because literally Jericho was doing...
he was scared of getting the barbed wire.
He was doing the jump and stomp while he was hitting Eddie. And he wasn't even hitting Eddie with any part of the chair that had barbed wire on it.
It literally looked like he was scared to get it stuck on Eddie. That's basically what it was.
Yeah. And guess what? There's a way around that. It's a real simple way. It's called, when you're preparing the barbed wire for the match, you sit there with aviator snips and you snip the barbs.
Yep.
It's a little trick that we do. It's called kayfabe.
Like, nobody's going to pull up binoculars and check to make sure the barbs are still there. They'll just see the wire.
Exactly. And then you have Sammy come in and you have Jericho try to wrap the barbed wire around his arm to do the fucking barbed wire Judas effect. But he's too fucking pussy to wrap the barbed wire on. You could have just snipped the barbs. And so then we go and we're supposed to have...
Well, actually, it was on there from before because Eddie was trying to do the stretch muffler or something on him.
Oh, the stretch plum, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was supposed to be the whole thing was, this is how I got Jericho to tap out the first time. That got it Sammy holding Eddie back, and it was supposed to be Jericho was going to give him the Judas effect while Sammy was holding him. But he kicks Sammy in the dick, so Sammy lets him go, and he was supposed to just get out of the way so that Jericho ends up just swinging and Judas affecting Sammy. Very simple, but because everything is over fucking contrived and done, what happens? He almost gets out of the way, but he shoves Sammy into Jericho, so Sammy punches Jericho for no reason, and then Jericho gives him the fucking Judas elbow, and then everyone goes, huh? And then Jericho goes over anyway.
Huh?
Not to mention, back it up about 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. The beginning of the match. Because I forgot to mention this, and this is like my big point. Because I was sitting there, and I literally was sitting here banging my head into the fucking like armrest of the fucking couch while I'm watching this with the wife. And she's like, what's the issue? The whole fucking point of this match, the whole point was Eddie saying, I'm going to make you bleed. Mm-hmm. That was his whole point of setting up this big gaga blow-off match, was because he wanted to make Jericho tap out and bleed at Blood and Guts, and it didn't happen. So he said, I'm going to make you bleed. That right there, Jericho should have waited till near the end of the match for Eddie to finally fucking bust him open. But no, we got to cut him 10 seconds into the fucking match. That takes out the entire allure of the fact that you're going to make him bleed. Like, okay, you made him bleed. Now we don't have to have this match. That should have fucking held off. But no, we do it right away, and then we get all this gaga with 85 guys out there, and the Benny Hill music, and random-ass fucking furniture everywhere, and then fucking Jericho still goes over, but it's okay, because Eddie gets his revenge by tossing Jericho into the sandbox with no sand and one piece of barbed wire. Like, I'm sorry, but they're like, oh, that demonic structure, that barbed wire weapon. No. Go on YouTube and type in Matt Tremont, DJ Hyde, Tangled Web. That's a fucking barbed wire web.
Well, all right. In the meantime, if you want seeing this craziness near my hometown, ta-da!
In the same place where the fucking arena football is.
Just an FYI. And by the way, if you want to avoid getting them through the Ticketmaster, there's a great site that we've been promoting throughout the summer. It's called SeatGeek. Because I'm fucking great with these fucking connections. Go to SeatGeek.com for any tickets you're looking for when it comes to any concerts, sporting events, etc. If your purchase is $50 or more, you can use the promo code GOZ, G-O-Z, get yourself $20 off the purchase. That's right, SeatGeek.com, or download the SeatGeek app like I have. And if you're looking any concert, any sporting event, etc., including minor league baseball too, can't leave them out. Any ticket purchase over $50, enter the promo code GOZ, G-O-Z. Get $20 off your order. And ironically, it's scrolling on the bottom of the screen also if you're watching the YouTube version of this show. Again, SeatGeek.com, or download the SeatGeek app. That's SeatGeek. Get yourself $20 off if any ticket purchase order $50 or more. That being said, because I feel like getting that out of the way. I know there's a hold up. Don't you worry.
So, now, those pictures that I sent you?
Yeah.
Go back to that third one.
The crowd one?
Yes.
This one?
Yes.
Yes.
So, the main argument going from people is, oh, well, AEW can't sell out in every city, and that was a fluke, and yada, yada, and all that shit. And Atlanta must not be a wrestling town, which I thought was hilarious.
Huh?
Atlanta's not a wrestling town. So, those other pictures were from Fyter Fest of last night. This picture was Fyter Fest week 1. So guess what?
That's Savannah too.
Exactly. So 2 weeks in a row.
In the great state of Georgia.
Yeah. Oh, and then of course it's gas prices and inflation. That's one of the reasons people are giving, which okay, I kind of get, but Georgia, especially in metro areas, they have public transportation.
And gas prices shouldn't be that much of a thing if you're a local.
Exactly.
Like you can spare the expense to drive a half hour each way
Right.
if you need to.
And obviously, like, and they said like there was the with the thing I sent you of the stats with how many tickets were distributed. So 5,900 tickets distributed, but we're not sure of how many of those tickets were actually bought by people and how many were bought by our friends at SeatGeek and our friends at well, not our friends, but our friends at SeatGeek and other retailer outlets like StubHub.
Correct. Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so
So if you're on the YouTube show, I'm showing the tweet that Mr. Alexander was referring
WrestleTix
to
put
from
out, yeah,
WrestleTix. So this was as of a little after 12:30, yes, Tuesday afternoon.
uh-huh,
So this is the day before the show in the Atlanta area. Well, I don't know if Duluth's really the Atlanta area, but whatever.
yeah,
They still had almost 1,900 tickets available.
mm-hmm,
Current setup or capacity, or was it going to be called capacity, was just a shade under 7 grand,
mm-hmm.
and tickets distributed, which means ones that were officially or unofficially sold,
About
depending on how you
5,100.
was just a shade under 5,100. Correct. Now, tickets distributed just means they're not available at the arena box office anymore.
Right,
That so that doesn't necessarily mean they're in hand of fans. It
right,
just means they're no longer available at the box office. So
right,
they might have sold 5,100 tickets in the box office. So the gate's not going to be. It's not going to show the difference to Tony when he gets the check from the arena,
right.
but it shows a difference when half of those distributed tickets are still sitting for $2 or $3 a pop come an hour before showtime.
Right. And this goes back to something I talked about a few weeks ago with if this trend continues and these resellers are not going to continue to buy large amounts of tickets for
Correct.
these events. Like I'm almost positive, like besides your really big pay-per-views, I'm pretty sure resellers don't go balls to the wall with like regular ass tapings for WWE shows because they know they're going to sell.
Yep.
Like so they don't bother trying to do the resale market. They just know they'll go for what they go for.
Correct.
I mean, obviously they still buy some, but it's not like because the whole thing is because AEW is a newer company. There's fucking it's the whole speculator thing. But that speculation is going to keep dying down when they keep drawing these low houses, and it's like I talked about before. It's like when you know, so what if the ticket sellers think they get a kickback at the end of the year when they file a loss on their taxes, so it doesn't matter that they didn't sell them, they get to write it off. But that doesn't help the arena when there's no people there and they've had to overstaff and they've spent X amount on concessions that don't get sold that day. And if you're in an off season where you don't have a regular sport, shit like that could go to waste.
Yep.
Like these are factors that wrestling fans don't fucking think of because they don't have a business oriented mind.
I know.
So that's the issue. So yeah. So anyways, so there's a Ring of Honor show on Saturday.
Yep. Um. So here's the card. I'll run through it quick. Stop me if you want to say something quick. Um. They announced a pre-show match that was booked last night. It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
Allison Kay and Willow Nightingale in a singles match. The remainder of the main card, and I'll go in reverse order of how these are listed.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually going to see the 6-man tag belts up for grabs. Ain't that some
Mm-hmm.
shit? The Righteous, so it's Vincent, Bateman, and Dutch against Dalton Castle and the boys.
Which none of them are signed to AEW right now.
So
So
who the fuck knows, basically.
right,
ROH Women's World Title, Mercedes defending against Serena Deeb.
two women who haven't been on TV, and like Serena had that run against Rosa, and now Serena's been nowhere to be found. Her and Mercedes have had about equal time on TV.
Yeah, I think Serena was on. I think she's on Rampage last week.
Yeah,
Yeah, she beat
Mercedes.
somebody on. Yeah, she beat on Rampage because Mercedes came down to stop the post-match beatdown. That's what it was.
Yeah.
FTR Briscoes 2 out of 3 falls for the ROH tag titles. We already know who's going to win that.
Mm-hmm.
Wheeler Yuta defending the Pure title against Daniel Garcia. Joe defending the TV title against Jay Lethal, and then Gresham defending the ROH World title against Claudio.
AEW's gonna do the one thing Vince never had the balls to do. He's gonna put a world title on Claudio. It's not a world title when there's a company when the company doesn't have a TV show. What was that? What was that? That at that final ECW pay per view ever? Like actual ECW, not WWE ECW. That final ECW pay per view when Rhino came out at the end. How the fuck can I be a television champion when we don't have a fucking TV show?
Right. Two quick things because we need to get to WWE.
Well, I know that like I said, I don't know if I sent you the screenshot, but I saw it. An old friend who was an ROH mainstay back in the day, John Walters, is apparently going to be there in some capacity.
Yep.
Don't know what, but he's going to be there.
Yeah. Two quick things. Number one, Santana and Ortiz reportedly not on good terms with each other.
Yeah, that's.
They're talking about Santana probably not re-signing with AEW because apparently his contract's up pretty soon.
And he's hurt. He's going to be out. He's going to be on the shelf for the next 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not only is he not getting re-signed, but he's not going to have any fucking money coming in because he can't take any indie bookings.
Correct.
So everyone that wants to be a big fucking stand for AEW is like, well, it's so much better when they just let people's contracts run out instead of WWE, blah, 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 blah. At least when WWE releases people, they still pay them for 90 days afterwards.
Yeah. Second thing. So the All-Atlantic title is going to be like
it's going to be a traveling title. It's going to get defended on random ass indies. Do you know what this means? I'm going to tell you exactly what this means. This means it's going to get defended at random ass indies who pay Tony Khan for the fucking. It's oh my god. It's the oh my god.
It's the NWA.
Yes, in some aspects, but this is
old school NWA, by the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, old school NWA was you basically had to pay to get a champion to come into your territory, and that way you did it. And it still happens today where if you want the NWA certain champion to appear on your show, you have to pay the NWA a certain stipend on top of the guy's payday.
Right.
Because they believe that, well, this is going to bring eyes to your product. Number one, that doesn't, which is bullshit. But no, this is the wrestling is thing all over again.
The what?
Wrestling is. Okay, so I've got to segue for a little bit here. I apologize. So during, I want to say it was like 2013, 2014. There was this weird thing going on in Chikara where they employed this like head of like standards and practices guy. And then there was one Chikara show where, like, in the middle of the main event, like, they just stopped everything and started kicking people out the door and started taking down the ring. And, like, the dude was just sitting there on the stage eating an apple. And they basically said, Chikara's done. And what happened was so Quackenbush had this idea that was great in theory, but did not work out. Because NEFW almost became part of this. So Quackenbush had this plan where he was going to make certain indies up and down the East Coast Chikara affiliates. And what was going to happen is Chikara was going to be gone. But there would be all these companies that would be under the Wrestling Is banner. There were a few. There was Wrestling Is Fun and Wrestling Is Art and Wrestling Is. You remember those names, right?
Wasn't this in the midst of when Quackenbush was doing like a publicity tour of sorts?
Yes.
I do vaguely remember this. Okay, go ahead.
So basically, what it was supposed to be was they would be your company would pay Quack to use this name, and you would get access to all these Chikara guys. Like you wouldn't be able to book Chikara guys otherwise. And NEFW, before the falling out between Eric and Camaro, almost became a wrestling is, until Quack was like, "No, you have to pay me." I think he wanted like $5,000 for the name, but you would be able to have access to all the Chikara guys at a discounted rate, quote unquote. And the whole thing was, it was supposed to culminate because, like, you saw on these wrestling is shows, you would see them getting like taken over by like Chikara heels like Dr. Cube and shit like that. The whole thing was basically going to become this giant culmination at National Pro Wrestling Day 2 years down the road, where all of the wrestling is companies converged to bring Chikara back to life. And in the meantime, everyone would have been running off of the Chikara name, and everyone would have been making money. He was basically going to make a territory system out of Chikara. Here's the problem: Chikara had a decent social media following as far as their footage,
Right.
but outside of PA, Chikara didn't draw anywhere. When they would tour, they wouldn't draw. When they would come to Connecticut, they would run at Nomads and draw 40 people.
Yeah, I remember because they ran a show in Troy one day that I've helped run.
Right. And they didn't draw.
Not shit. And that was in a boys and
Exactly.
girls club, which isn't hard to fill.
Right. So it's like, yes, they had a social media presence as far as social media goes, but that doesn't mean that like when you travel it's going to be there. It just means people like watching your shit for free online. But Quack thought that that was going to equal into this whole thing where people would pay to have this name as part of their namesake to get them more publicity. And that's what Tony Khan's doing with the fucking Every Ocean is the Atlantic title. Is I'm going to let my All Atlantic champion come to your show and he can defend the belt against your top guy and make your guy look good. But at the end of the day, I'm just bilking you out of fucking money to get this guy to, because you're going to have to pay this guy to be on your show anyway, but now you're going to have to pay me so that I can use your footage if I want. And what's going to happen? Pac is going to go work for every shitty indie that wants to pay for him, that's going to go broke doing it because there's no possible way you can pay for a guy and pay this stipend and draw enough people to make back your money. And then the only time you're ever going to see the All Atlantic title on TV is when it changes hands. Because Tony is an indie mark.
My brain hurts just thinking about that. I got nothing.
That's exactly what it is.
Well, it's a great way to transition out. All right, real quick, WWE TV.
We got SummerSlam coming up.
Yeah, that's coming up next weekend, so we'll dive in full scale next week.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pull up the current card real quick, just to guide me. Apparently, the card, by the way, that reportedly officials backstage don't really like the way it's panning out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is kind of a bunch of bullshit. But
the officials don't like it. Sure, they don't. They're the ones that wrote it.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna kind of look through this card just to see if it tips off anything that we need to discuss. Roman and Brock, there's really been nothing happening there except for Paul Heyman trying to encourage people to basically. No, let me rewind. So SmackDown on Friday night. Early in the night, he tries convincing Theory to let him basically set up a pre-planned match for his cash in instead of just doing it as a cash in like normal. Then come later in the night, Theory's facing Madcap Moss on SmackDown, and he tries convincing Madcap Moss into essentially putting Theory out of commission so he can't cash in at SummerSlam. And Madcap Moss basically says, stick him.
I feel like they're trying to do like I had this weird feeling watching SmackDown that like they're trying to do a double turn and make the Bloodline baby faces in Theory a heel.
Well, the Bloodline is getting cheered anyways.
True.
Like, they're not
But
really... they're not heels in the true... Let me put it this way. They talk and act heelish.
Yeah.
But the crowd reactions are not heelish.
Right. But it's so weird. It's that weird dichotomy with Roman is people bitched and moaned and booed him when he was being pushed as a babyface. And then the second they make him a heel, everyone starts cheering him.
Like, yeah! Maybe that's why they're going to go TV 14 eventually. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Although apparently SummerSlam is being rated TV 14 on Peacock.
I mean, I know why that's happening.
Because of the Brock Roman match?
Yeah. Because Brock is unsafe and is going to end up
busting
again.
Wait, Brock's unsafe? Holy shit. Play the breaking news sounder. Ladies and gentlemen, Brock Lesnar is an unsafe worker. Holy fuck. Anyways, McAfee and Corbin, again, not really a whole fucking hell of a lot.
It'll be an okay match.
No, I mean as far as like what's happened.
Oh, yeah.
Since our last show.
Oh.
Lashley and Theory, I mean, not a whole lot of pub on Lashley. It's been more just Theory and the Money in the Bank briefcase getting pushed and pushed and pushed. Nothing really crazy there.
Taking a back seat.
Usos and Profits, they've had a couple of singles matches. Most recently was Friday on SmackDown. Dawkins beats Jimmy the way the Usos retain the titles at Money in the Bank with the shoulder being up with the referee not seeing the shoulder. Good job, Little Nate. Way to go on that one. And then Adam Pearce comes out to end SmackDown by revealing the special guest referee for their tag title match at Money in the Bank, which is...
David J.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett.
REFEREE.
Thank you for spelling referee. Appreciate it. And trust me, I'm going to get to Jarrett a little more later.
I mean, that kind of fell flat, but at the same time, it's like, it's Tennessee.
That's not my issue with Jarrett. I'm going to get to it.
I know.
I'm going to get to it.
I know, but I'm saying, as far as this goes.
As far as this goes, I get it. You're getting the Tennessee pop. I fucking get it.
The Tennessee pop and the fact that he's already there.
Right. It also doesn't help that fucking McAfee after the reveal goes, what? The Jeff Jarrett, the senior vice president of live events?
Right?
Like, oh, fuck off, Pat. Jesus Christ.
Pat McAfee just said, fuck that curtain. I ripped it up.
Way to kill the allure. Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Pat McAfee pulled an early JJ Alexander. I used to do that shit my first couple years in.
You fucking would. Liv and Ronda for the SmackDown Women's title again. Not really much of anything.
I what did Ronda like? I thought like Ronda wanted to like go home and chill. Now she doesn't, because I mean you cannot have Ronda do the job clean to Liv twice. You can't.
Well, I think unfortunately it's going to happen because Liv is getting better than expected crowd reactions and really good merch sales at live events right now.
Oh God,
I know, but that's what's coming out of corporate.
They're gonna need to do something. They're gonna need Liv to go over like dirty, even without her knowing it. You got to do something like have Bayley come in and interfere on her part, like without her knowing or something. Because you cannot have Liv go over Ronda Rousey clean.
I'm gonna ask a question. I'm so sorry that I'm gonna ask this because I know I'm oh God. Could WWE be dumb enough to do the same thing 2 years in a row?
What, to do the fucking bait and switch and then have someone come out and beat Liv in 10 seconds?
Yeah.
I don't think they'll do it 2 years in a row.
Well, you just mentioned the name that makes perfect sense. That's why.
Right.
That's why.
But I think it'd just be easier if Bayley like pops up like out of nowhere and just like fucking, does some even if it's something as stupid as if it's something as stupid as they spill to the outside and then Liv gets back in and then Ronda's going to get back in and something's holding her foot and then you find out it was Bayley holding her foot. So that Liv wins by count out.
Yeah. As far as other SmackDown specific shit, that's really it. And we'll get to the other three matches currently booked for SummerSlam in a second. But I just want to run through the stuff from this past Friday's SmackDown. So we had the New Day cosplaying as the Viking Raiders. I was hoping you'd laugh at that. But now apparently they're friends with Jinder and Shanky too. While we're at it,
because they're trying to push Shanky babyface, and eventually Jinder's just gonna split from them
and say fuck off, and we're gonna have a 6-man tag. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Gunther apparently loves chopping Ludwig Kaiser when he does dumb shit.
It's the tough love thing.
I know. We've now got 2 weeks in a row of Lacey Evans cutting promos and saying "fuck off" to Aaliyah for a match, which I would.
Well, it's because no one wants to see Lacey Evans versus Aaliyah.
Thank you very much. We also got a second week in a row of bait and switch with Sheamus.
Go away, Peyton.
Huh? What?
You said bait and switch, but you said it so fast. It sounded like you said bait and switch. And so all I could think of was Idiocracy. Go away, Peyton.
Bait and switch. Is that better for you?
Yes.
Jerk off.
Go away, Peyton.
So Drew beats your jerk off.
Peyton.
Drew beats Butch 1 week, then just beat Ridge Holland this past week. Maybe we'll finally get Drew versus Sheamus to figure out who's gonna fucking get the clash at the castle title shot, which we all know is gonna be fucking
clashing at the castle.
Which we all know is gonna be fucking Drew anyways, but whatever. And that's really it on the SmackDown side. On the Raw side, 3 other SummerSlam matches involving their talent: Riddle versus Seth Rollins, which has had some stuff. They've mixed Ezekiel into the program as well, building up to SummerSlam. Because 2 weeks in a row, which was really more of a feed off from the 4th of July party from the fucking catch up on Seth.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks in a row, Ezekiel loses to Rollins on Raw. Sure, whatever. What else? Oh, the women's title, Bianca Belair. She's done with Carmella, thank God.
Yeah.
Now she gets to face Becky Lynch at SummerSlam.
Dude, okay, I love how fucking everyone's bitching like, they just keep doing the same shit over. I'm sick of seeing Becky and Bianca over and over. Over and over? This is what, their 4th time facing each other in a year?
SummerSlam, Mania, SummerSlam.
And
they did a rematch at what was it, WrestleMania Backlash, I think?
Yeah. So this will be the 4th time they faced each other.
It feels like a lot because 3 of the matches are within a 4-month period.
Right, but still, like,
all in all,
it's
the whole program's been going for a year.
Right, it's the same thing I have to say to all these people that bitch about repetitiveness. Do y'all realize that that's all that wrestling was built on, right? Feuds, the territories. Yeah. Guys faced each other every fucking night of the week. Yeah. Like, dude, it's the impatience of people. And I'm not just saying like it's the younger generations, because it's people in our generation too who just have forgotten about what it was like to be a fucking wrestling fan in the early 90s.
Right.
When you only had fucking 1 TV show a week. And even so, like it
what else we got here?
It just
got Logan Paul and The Miz is the last match scheduled right now for SummerSlam.
So I'm kind of sad. I was really hoping that we, like, and as much as I fucking don't want him in it, but I was really hoping we would get a tag match instead out of that. And we would get Miz and Ciampa versus Logan and AJ. Just so Ciampa could get a payday.
I think Ciampa's still going to be involved in some way.
I guess, but I mean, I don't know. I think it would be better. Like I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. It would be a better setup to have them hold off the actual Miz versus Logan Paul singles match, Mania, or at least until Survivor Series.
Right. Yep. Other Raw stuff. Priest and Finn are kind of trying to get Dominic in Judgment Day, and then not so much. And I don't know.
It was weird. It was like it was basically like they had to threaten him to join, and then he's like, "Fine, I'll join." And they're like, "No, we don't want a pussy."
Because he wouldn't hit Ray with the chair. That's why.
Yeah. Which I mean,
Um,
I'm sorry, no, people just don't want Dominic on TV at all.
well, shit, we know that.
Like, you know what would be great through this whole thing is if it won't happen, unfortunately. But what would be great if they would be like, we have decided we now have, we have decided we will add a third member to the Judgment Day, and now we introduce Dominic, but it's not Dominic Mysterio, it's Dominic Dijakovic.
That'd be fantastic, actually.
Exactly, but God forbid they actually do something that great.
What else we got here? So when is Edge coming back? Night after SummerSlam?
I guess. Apparently, they wanted to. I thought they were going to use Edge for SummerSlam, but apparently, they want to hold him off for Clash of the Castle.
I think there's I'm thinking the only way he comes back for SummerSlam is if he comes out at some point during the Mysterios against Damian Priest and Finn Balor tag match at MSG on Monday.
Yeah,
it's the only way that would make sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So we're building a program with Dolph Ziggler and Theory out of, I guess, maybe.
I guess.
Where Dolph Ziggler doesn't say anything, he just comes down and super kicks Theory whenever he fucking wants to.
I mean, it's a good program for Theory. It's good to I'm
Oh,
sure
I
they'll
agree.
work
It's
well
good.
together.
It's good for him.
Well, because I guess apparently, like, they scrapped the plans to have the Dirty Dogs do anything, because apparently Bobby Roode has decided to be a coach down in NXT now instead.
Thank God.
I mean, it's a good job for him.
For NXT, not, I mean,
yeah, right.
You know what I mean.
But yeah, so that left Dolph with something, and Dolph's getting a pretty good paycheck, so obviously they want to do something with him. Right. I feel like maybe what they're doing with Dolph is like something that was going to be a continuation of the Dolph Braun Breaker feud before Bruce Pritchard decided to fuck everyone in the ass on that.
Right. Did you see the very beginning of Raw this past week?
I did not. I was under anesthesia.
Oh, right. So, you know how they started the show this week?
How?
Titus O'Neil basically gave a corporate PSA for WWE.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. We don't care about politics. We don't care about religion. We don't care about your race or your wherever you're from. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is a safe space for everyone. And we're just here to entertain you and have fun. And I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, is this
we have to do this while Vince is going to walk down to the ring helicopter dicking?
Right. Like, is this Vince trolling everyone again? Like, what the fuck is this? I couldn't. Oh my God. I don't know. It just killed me on the inside. The one other thing. So, were you on anesthesia early enough to see this clusterfuck that happened during the 6-woman tag match that wasn't really a 6-woman tag match?
All right. Recollection, dude.
So the original 6-woman tag match was Nikki Ash, Doudrop, and Tamina against Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and the 24/7 champion Dana Brooke.
Oh, this is where Alexa was 24/7 champion for like 10 seconds?
Correct.
I remember that.
So the actual match itself basically lasted for 90 seconds. But in the midst of the 90-second match, Dana Brooke took out somebody on the outside. And Reggie appears from the announcer's corner, distracting Dana Brooke as Tozawa and Asia Smith, one of the referees, who refereed the match before, they come out from under the ring together. Tozawa rolls her up. So Tozawa rolls her up, gets a pin, wins the 24/7 title. Then Nikki Ash pins Tozawa. Then Alexa Bliss pins Nikki. Doudrop pins Alexa. Tamina pins Doudrop. Then Dana Brooke pins Tamina. Full circle. She has the 24/7 title back. And Dana Brooke takes off for the back. In the meantime, we finally are back to the legal women in the ring, which were Nikki Ash and Asuka. And Asuka finishes the job and gets the 1, 2, 3.
Yay!
Just fuck me. Like, Me and this 24/7 title just don't get along. I'm sorry. Yeah. Real quick, we're gonna try rolling through NXT. I don't know how, but we're gonna roll through this.
Roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it.
Obviously, meaningful thing number one would be Roxanne Perez gets attacked in the parking lot before the show starts. Nobody knows who it is. So the whole show is essentially based around a bunch of girls getting interviewed as to whether or not they were the ones that attacked Roxanne Perez in the parking lot.
I
And then
did it for the Rock.
I did it for the people. Um, and then they get to the end of the show, which is the main event women's title match between Mandy Rose and Roxanne Perez. Cora Jade hits Roxanne from behind with the tag title. Mandy Rose gets the pin to retain the title, which essentially reveals Cora Jade was the one who attacked Roxanne all along. And then Cora Jade does the worst prop botch I've ever seen in my fucking life, where she breaks the skateboard in midair, mid-swing back to hit Roxanne with the, oh my God, Jesus Mary. And then Cora Jade comes out dressed in all black because that's a heel thing to do.
Yep.
This week, trashes Roxanne Perez and then literally trashes her NXT Women's Tag Team title belt.
So we officially have no women's tag champions at all on any show, which is why Tony Khan is going to introduce women's tag championships.
Well, no, it's just Roxanne Perez has no one to argue with about being the women's tag team champions. No, I'm the women's tag team champion. So I'm the women's tag team champ. Sorry. I made that joke to you about someone.
Yeah, you did.
I don't remember who it was.
No, you made it to me.
I'm trying to remember who it was about though. Who was was it Swerving Keith Lee? Maybe I was saying something about how Swerve should have. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just it's old hat. Like it. Anytime they have done this, it's never worked. You can't have people become tag champions and then turn on each other in the middle of the reign. No matter if it's 8 weeks into the reign or 8 minutes into the reign or a week into the reign. It just doesn't work anytime you do it. You know, it didn't work when it happened with Shawn and Diesel. It didn't work when it happened with fucking Ambrose and Rollins. And it didn't work with fucking Skateboard Bitch and Roxy.
I know.
Like, it's just like that. And the whole thing was, it was just because this was going to be the plan all along, because Roxy wasn't originally supposed to win the breakout tournament. Bitch was supposed to win, but she got fucking hurt.
Right. Apparently we're putting together a program with Zion Quinn and Apollo Crews from the looks of it,
which I think is all right, because I think they don't know what to do with Zion Quinn. And the thing, the dude's got talent. The dude's got a look. He's got size. He's got some personality.
He's an okay interview.
He's an okay interview. He obviously will do anything you ask, because if you remember, he had to do that stupid ass karaoke contest against Robbie E that one week when he was still a babyface.
Right.
Like, there's something in him. I always thought when they were first introducing Solo Sikoa that, because, you know, Solo was supposed to be he was supposed to be the outcast, and he wasn't supposed to be like the rest of the Samoan family. He was a street fighter. And the whole thing is Zion Quinn has some Samoan in his heritage too. I think that they shouldn't have had Solo look the way he does, because you can obviously tell he's one of the fucking Usos.
Right.
But they should have had Solo look like Zion and put the two of them together and made them like the bastard sons of Samoa. And had them run with that, where they both have the heritage, they both have the Samoan heritage, but they're not like everyone else. Because if you tell me a guy has Samoan heritage, but he's a street fighter, and then you put in front of me pictures of Solo Sikoa and Zion Quinn, I'm sorry, but with the description you just gave me, I'm going to think it's Zion Quinn.
Okay.
But yeah, but I think they're looking to bring Zion up to the main roster, and obviously he's going to get a reboot when he does. But I think he's someone that could benefit from it. And I think this is just they're using Apollo Crews to figure out if he's ready or not.
Uh, then Joe Gacy has a cleansing and purification ceremony. Man, it was within the promo package. It wasn't really like
He
go
got
watch him at
smart.
NXT.
He got smart.
I kind of told you this was happening. You didn't
You
believe me.
no, I believed you.
You thought that's who it was under the hood. You didn't think they were actually going to be them though.
No, I figured no. Once they said they were unveiling them, and I saw that they gave them the name changes, I knew it was going to
Okay.
be them. That's why I sent you the thing saying they were doing the name changes.
So so
But
they
I
revealed the dyad to be
well, they're not the
the art.
dyad anymore.
Well, I know
They're
they're
schism.
the artists formerly known as GYV, Grizzled Young Veterans. Their names are now Jagger, Reed, and Rip Fowler. And
Son of
boy,
Cain.
does Jesus Christ, he looks weird with a bald head, or like clean shaven and bald head. But
Yeah, but I mean, hey, they're obviously willing to work with what they're given in order to stay employed, which is fine.
mhm.
But they're a hell of a team. Like they can talk and they can work, and if this is what they got to do to get over, they'll work with what they got to do to get over. But at least I'm glad that they were smart enough. I think Trips was just right in there with a dictionary, going, "Yeah, dyad means two, Bruce. You're fucking stupid." And he's like, "You've got more than two people in this stable. We got to call them something else."
Thank you, Triple H. In the meantime, to intertwine with that, so Cameron Grimes loses to JD McDonough, but during the midst of the match, Gacy's watching from the perch thingamabobber. And then when they go to Grimes later in the night and he's leaving and doesn't want to talk to anybody, Gacy walks over and wants to talk to Grimes. So
Just let Grimes go to the main roster. Don't give him a fucking feud with Gacy. Just let him go to the main roster.
Anywhozer, so we had Roderick Strong blame Damon Kemp for losing the tag title match to the Creeds.
I would too.
So they so they face each other one on NXT this week. Um At the end of the match, Tony D and the family show up on the big screen beating up the Creeds backstage. Damon Kemp goes to leave the match to go help the Creeds. Strong says, fuck that mess, pulls Kemp in, uh, hits him with the fucking jumping knee for the 1, 2, 3, and then Strong and like I so basically we set up Diamond Mine versus Tony D and Two Dimes and Cruz Del Toro and
Nobody
Joaquin.
cares. Stop putting heels versus heels. Stop all of this shit. Nobody cares about Tony D. Stop that shit. Let Legato go to the main roster, except for Carmen Sandiego, because she ain't fucking ready. Tell Damon Kemp to get better gear. He looks like he's wearing a onesie with a loaded diaper. I can't. You can obviously tell they're like, Bruce Pritchard was like, I don't care if I'm done here. You're gonna finish through with these fucking 8 weeks of scripts I wrote.
Briggs and Jensen face Pretty Deadly.
Yes.
Briggs and Jensen retain the UK tag titles.
It looked good doing it. Proud of Briggs and Jensen, except for why the fuck is Jensen wearing Daisy Dukes?
Daisy Dukes. Yeah, that was kind of weird. Apparently we have this whole program going on now between Von Wagner and Solo Sikoa.
Because reasons. They did the one thing though. Because we haven't been here yet. No, I did it. I mentioned it last week, right? The shit that his dad used to do in the promos.
Yeah.
I mentioned that last week. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, anesthesia. Okay, my bad.
Then we have Mello and Trick doing a vignette last week. Then they were in the barbershop this week.
Because they're always in the barbershop.
They were talking about Waller, and who was the other dude they were talking about? They're talking about somebody else potentially coming from the north. Solo Sikoa.
Yeah. Remember the program that was supposed to be happening like 2 months ago, and then
it doesn't seem to be happening anymore. Yeah, I know. Yeah. What else we got here? Oh, Jesus, Mary, and fucking Joseph. Axiom.
Dude, okay, I have some feelings on some things, and I'm gonna piss off a lot of indie workers right now. when I say shut up. Quit bitching.
Okay.
I'll elaborate.
Are you saying A Kid's making a living and he's going to do what he's told to do? Is that what you're trying to basically say?
First off, yes.
Okay.
That's point number one.
Okay.
But number two, because obviously, because I sent you the pictures and showed you, you know, for here's okay. So indie guys, you have to go back to the one cardinal rule: is the casual fan knows nothing about motherfucking indie wrestling. The casual fan does not know that there's a guy who works in Pennsylvania, Jersey, and New York who has a mask similar to the mask that A-Kid is now wearing.
Can you put out the name I think you're thinking of?
Razorwing.
Okay, thank you. I thought so. Go ahead.
Which, and here's the proof. Here's my fucking proof right here. Here's my fucking proof. In the midst of this, when he comes out and they do the thing, and mind you, they're not going to be able to do that entrance every time because, like, that was giving people seizures.
You think?
Yeah. The moment he came out, I get a DM from Shell saying, "Is that Fishy Man?" Back it up a little bit. That's what Shell calls Ophidian. It's a story for another day. But
Okay.
remember, you know the Osiris portal from Chikara?
Yes.
So you know how Ophidian had the mask that kind of looked like that with the snake around it.
Yes.
Okay, but obviously I sent you the pictures of Razorwing.
Yes.
And the picture of Razorwing's tag team with Silverhawk.
Yes.
And Silverhawk was Wheeler Yuta.
Okay.
So I made a joke during Dynamite where I was just like, if Yuta wants to get over, he just put on his hood and say that they're ripping off his old gimmick. But so everyone, like a lot of people in this area are bitching and whining that Axiom ripped off Razorwing because it's the same look and the same colors, and he even did this pose. Like, you know how many people do this pose? Whatever the fuck. You know who the first time I saw do that pose? You know who I saw do it? Rebel Wilson in fucking Ghost Rider. All right? And that was in fucking 2010?
Something like that.
Right. So shut up. Like, okay, yeah, does the mask look similar? Yes, but guess what? When A-Kid got in the ring, he didn't work like Razorwing. He was working like he was Loki. Because that's the first thing someone I was talking to was just like, is that Loki under the hood? And I was like, no, it's A-Kid. But everyone thought it was fucking Loki. So Guess what? And plus, I'm sorry, but if we want to talk about you're going to bitch that a Chikara guy's gimmick got ripped off by a WWE guy. Okay, let's talk about Chikara gimmicks that ripped off WWE. So we got Juan Coronado Francisco, who was a ripoff of Alberto Del Rio. We've got the team that fucking Eastman manages is Sidney Bacabella. That's the ripoff of Demolition. Well, they're a ripoff of Demolition.
Oh, wasn't that the team was that the one that Sean Burke was part of?
Yeah, when Sean Burke was Flex Rumble Crunch.
Yeah.
And Sebastian Reich was Max Smashmaster.
Yeah.
And then I always forget the third guy's name. But yeah.
I just remember Burke looking like he was from Demolition. I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Exactly, because they were a ripoff of Demolition.
I know.
Well, they were a ripoff of Demolition, Legion of Doom, Powers of Pain. Like, they were a ripoff.
It was a little, yeah.
Right.
Wasn't there a guy that was kind of like a Mantar kind of character?
In Chikara, probably.
I can't remember the fucking name. Then there was one that was just like a Viking, made me think of the Berserker.
Oh, yeah, the Estonian Thunder Frog.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember a few of the guys over there in Troy that one random day.
Right. Mentor, you're probably thinking of the Proletariat Boar of Moldova.
Yes!
I managed him a couple of times.
Jeez.
He's a good kid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So you really can't bitch about WWE ripping off a Chikara guy just because a guy has a similar mask when Chikara made a fucking living off of ripping off WWE gimmicks.
Yep. Yep. Let's see what else I got here. The only two things I have other than that. Number one,
Mm,
I've
mm.
you have something? Okay.
One last thought. The whole big thing, Axiom's thing is he does math. Razor Wing's thing is he's a bird. Completely different gimmicks.
The modern day mathematical superhero, to be exact.
Yes. He does math and he's a superhero. Razor Wing was a bird.
Two other things I want to go over real quick from NXT before we touch on the last thing I want to visit for the day. We're going to hold off the PG TV 14 thing till next week.
If they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. Yeah.
Right. So we'll hold
Andrew
off.
Zarian's a fucking idiot. That's what we got out of this.
We'll dive into that a little deeper next week. The two things I want to bring up from NXT this week that I haven't mentioned yet. Number one, I'm going to officially say you were correct about someone. And it's because I don't like the way he was on the mic. It was too. How should I put this? Didn't draw me in, is what I'm basically trying to get at. Would you like to guess who I'm referring to? I'll give you a hint. He wrestled earlier in the night before the promo. And it wasn't just him in the promo. Somebody else started the promo segment.
Braun Breaker?
And?
Fuck.
Just say his original name if you don't remember the new one.
Oh, you mean Mongoloid Balor?
Yes. I will cave in and say you were correct about JD McDonough. Very good in-ring talent, but I'm not so sure he has enough personality to pull anything off at this point.
Well, yeah. He's always going to be a poor man's Finn Balor to me.
Yeah. This is the first time, I mean, aside from any of the vignettes, this is really the first time I've ever heard him, like, try to pull off a promo segment. I don't know if it was just the whole context of it with the fucking mannequin behind him that threw me off. Or I don't know what the fuck it was, but just it didn't hit home for me. It didn't pull me in, didn't intrigue me. It just was very blasé and bland.
Yeah.
The second thing, so of all your options, because apparently we gotta do the Charlie storyboard to fucking make this make sense. Because it took until fucking Vic Joseph said something after the match had already ended and they were about to go off the air for me to fucking remember this fucking Charlie May shit. Out of all your options, including the one that wasn't in the ring, Io Shirai, who apparently wants to leave WWE now, another story for another time. But out of all your options, even including Ass Bitch, you had your new number one contender from a 20-woman battle royal be Zoe fucking Stark.
And they tried to fake us out with the Shawn Bulldog Royal Rumble ending.
No, I'd put that more as Del Rio Roman ending.
Well, the original time was Shawn and Bulldog.
Well, no, it wasn't even that because, actually no, but even before that, it was more Steve Austin, Bret Hart.
Shawn and Bulldog was before that.
But Shawn got thrown out though, and Bulldog thought he was eliminated.
That's why I said they tried to swerve us.
This is Cora Jade coming in through the crowd because she didn't get thrown on the top rope. She crawled out and ran to the back.
Yeah, but then
I wouldn't put that as Shawn and Bulldog. Really.
That was the first time that anything like that was done on WWE TV, where they thought one person won, and then they had the other person come in, but they just didn't follow. But they were like, "Nope, by the way, no, fuck you."
Right.
But I'm saying they tried to. They did not execute.
Right, you're correct. But as far as the actual setup and the lead up to it, it was much more Bret Steve than it was in '97 than it was. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Plus, if it was Shawn Bulldog, Corey would have shit canned Zoe over the top turnbuckle, and then Zoe and Corey would have won. but that's whatever. That's
Right.
fine.
That's what I'm saying. They attempted but
Um,
did not follow through.
but like,
I
you
just
had
I
you
just
have
hate that the whole tease for weeks with the QR codes led to this.
that too.
Like I was sitting here like trying to figure out shit. Like I
Like
was actually I was actually engaged into trying to figure out some stuff for a little bit because like I like when they do cryptic shit like that. And like because like the first week I don't remember, but I remember the second week it was like a failed Wordle, and I don't do Wordle, so I didn't know like how that shit worked.
I didn't
So I
bother
was
scanning any of this shit.
I scanned the second weeks after the first week's thing, and I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. But yeah, and then like, but then like the whole thing was like it seemed like it was going to be built to something
New,
in another few weeks.
right?
Like because that's the whole problem is not only did Zoe Stark just come out as the final entrant to Zero Pop, but they didn't associate it with everything else that happened. Like they could have showed like the lights go out and a QR code appear above the thing, and then and it's Zoe Stark, so people would have known. Oh, that's what this was all about. Because the final QR code that they aired earlier in the night
Mm-hmm.
was just a picture of Zoe Stark's boots. And unless you are like really fucking like focused in on shit, you don't know what you didn't know that those were Zoe's boots. It was just a pair of boots.
Yeah.
With a Z on them, I think. I don't know.
Like think of it this way. Think about all the other options they had in that match. You had Ass Bitch in the final four. Well, final four it turned out.
Yeah.
As much as you don't like heel versus heel shit, you had
They had
Tiffany
skateboard
Stratton.
bitch. Oh yeah, they had Tiffany. Yeah.
Tiffany Stratton, who I'd argue right now, out of all the heel women not in Toxic Attraction, I'd argue Tiffany Stratton's probably the strongest one they have right now.
You can argue that all you want. I think she's fucking terrible.
Well, think about all the other heels they have right now.
I just mean in general, like
It basically
like
comes down to
like
it comes down to Cora Jade, Lash Legend, or Tiffany Stratton.
they're all horrible.
You're not helping me here.
I'm sorry, but they're all horrible.
Is there any woman that's a heel at NXT that you do like? I'm going to answer that for you. You're probably going to say no. Kiana
Yeah, because
James.
Natty's back up on the range. Yeah. Yeah, no.
Elektra Lopez.
Yeah, she's terrible.
Tiffany Stratton.
Terrible.
Cora Jade.
Terrible.
JC Jane.
Terrible.
Gigi Dolan.
Terrible.
Andy Rose.
Terrible.
Lash Legend.
All bad. Terrible. Damn. Oh, their entire heel side of the roster are god awful.
I think technically Ivy Nile's supposed to be heel, but they get a face pop all the time now, so I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
To the point where now you got fucking Carter and Katana Chance. They're heels technically now, I guess.
They're the only ones that aren't god awful.
And I wouldn't even say they're that great.
Right. They've been there for years, and they're passable.
I don't know. Anyways, I wanted to end the show today
with terrible
because we are past where I wanted to go. Oh, you're gonna think this is terrible. We're gonna go back to being indie-rific for a few minutes.
Yeehaw!
Because I want to. I know that this show isn't until next weekend, but I need to go through this with you. I need to go through this with you. It's the card that is currently booked for the Ric Flair's last match event in Nashville, which is happening a week from Sunday, July the 31st, Nashville Municipal Auditorium. It's on Fight TV, and I think they're doing it on something else too. I'm not sure. But I know you can get it on Fight TV next Sunday. Have you seen the whole card for this fucking show?
Yes.
Okay. It's 11 matches long now, including the 2 new ones they just booked. Let me run through this quick. So, we're going to save the main event for last because I have something special to say about that. First off, they're apparently bringing out the Bunkhouse Battle Royal. Because fuck it, why not?
Reasons.
They've now booked the Von Erichs, Marshall, and Ross to take on the Briscoes.
I mean, I'd be cool seeing that.
Then they have a New Japan Strong match with Clark Connors against Ren Narita.
Meh.
Because reasons. Killer Cross against Davey Boy Smith Jr.
I'd like to see that.
This one, and then we're getting to a bunch of stuff that I think was already booked that you knew about. Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards reuniting as the Wolves against Shelley and Sabin, which is interesting because Shelley and Sabin are fighting each other on TV tonight. Fucking God Almighty. Yep. Then the 4-way lucha match: Rey Fenix, Laredo Kid, Taurus, and Bandito.
No, thank you.
Jonathan Gresham, presumably for the ROH World Title, quote unquote.
Which we know isn't true because they taped next week's Dark this week and had Gresham come out without the ROH title on it.
All right, so it's not going to be for the title, but he's going to be in a 4-way against Alan Angels from the Dark Order, Konosuke Takeshita, and Nick Wayne, that 18-year-old kid that they signed from Defy.
So it's an AEW match,
basically. Then they have the Morton, the father and son combo, Ricky and Kerry Morton, with Robert Gibson at ringside. Would you like to know who they're facing?
Let's see, they're not in the Ric Flair match anymore, so
I'll give you a hint. They got overbooked, I would say, by Big Time Wrestling for a high-profile tag match recently.
Brock Anderson and Brian Pillman Jr. Oh!
With Arn Anderson in the corner. Then we have, then we already knew these other two matches before we get to the main event. Jordan Grace defending the Knockouts title against Deonna Purrazzo and Rachel Ellering in a triple threat. And then Josh Alexander defending the Impact World title against Jacob Fatu. Now we get to the main event. Now, after all this time, all this bluster of who's going to face Rick, and we're all assuming it's a singles match.
Well, no, because when they first announced the match, it was supposed to be a 6-man.
And then it all kinds of shit changed. All kinds of shit changed the whole time, okay? A 6-man, a singles. Okay,
I was never expecting it to be a singles match when it came down to it. I knew it was because you can't have Rick in there.
It's Rick and his ego. You never fucking know at this point. But, so they do the reveal the other day online on RickFlairsLastMatch.com or some shit, whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. Or
ConradReverseMortgages.com/Ric Flair's Last Match.
Or Starcast.com/Ric Flair's. I don't know what the fuck the URL is. But they've been doing this documentary, apparently, leading up to the match. Part 1 was about Rick getting back in the ring and training with Lethal and shit like that. And apparently Rick saying it's not for the money. And that's how they started part 2. Tommy Young said something along the lines of, I have a good guess as to why Rick's doing it. And then somebody behind the camera said, so it could be heard, it's not for money. And Tommy's like, really? That was good. That was going to be my guess. Just awful shit. So basically what happens is in this documentary, so Lethal asks Rick about being on the card. Not even being in Rick's match, just being on the card. And Rick basically says no. For lack of a better phrase, he basically tells Jay Lethal no.
That's how they set this up.
So it gets better. Did you see any of this shit?
No.
Oh my god.
I didn't know this existed.
Oh, this gets better because I'm gonna have to send you the link so you can watch this video. The part they put on Tuesday is ridiculous. So here's what. Okay, so that everything I'm telling you right now from this point forward is in the Tuesday video.
We're now. Everything that happens now is happening now.
Right. So he turns down Lethal. Rick leaves. This is after they did a practice in the ring. Rick leaves the facility, and then the camera shows Lethal going into like an office area and throwing a water bottle at the wall, like pissed off or whatever. So then they fast forward to the press conference they had in Nashville for the show. And they showed a couple clips. Jarrett was there to represent Jarrett, I guess. Yeah,
He
Jeff Jarrett
wasn't
was
even advertised until they advertised the match.
Jeff was at the press conference. Obviously David Crockett was there. Ric Flair was there. Rick's made some backhanded joke about Jeff while he was sitting there next to the podium at the press conference. Just fucking weird shit. So then they go from the press conference clips to David Crockett and Ric Flair walking towards whatever vehicle they had rented for the day. Jay Lethal is chilling, waiting for them to show up. So Jay approaches Rick, and he's pissed, obviously. At one point, he touches Rick, and Rick says, "Get your fucking hands off me." Okay. So now Rick walks from the back seat towards the trunk of the SUV, like because he had like a suitcase in his jacket. So he's going to load that in. Lethal jumps him in the parking lot. All while David Crockett's just standing there, just yelling for help, basically. Hold on, it gets better. So Lethal's beating up Flair behind his rental vehicle. Now we cut to Karen and Jeff Jarrett walking out. Jeff sees what's going on, still in his suit jacket or whatever, and he pulls Lethal off of Rick. And Jeff's trying to talk sense into Jay while he's checking on Rick. Rick is basically saying, "Fuck off, I'll get up on my own." And then he says a couple more unsultry things towards Jeff. And then Jeff says, "Fuck it," and clocks Flair. Now Karen is holding back David Crockett. Jeff says, "Give me your shoe," because she's wearing a high-heeled shoe. And he spikes Rick in the head with the heel and busts open the 73-year-old man right in the parking lot. So this beatdown happens. Jarrett and Lethal eventually walk away, and all you have left is a bloodied Ric Flair laid out in a parking lot, supposedly unconscious from this beatdown, and David Crockett standing there with his dick in his hand, not knowing what to do.
Story of David Crockett's life.
So then finally we get to the end of the video, and this is the main event. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal with Karen Jarrett in their corner against Ric Flair and Andrade El Idolo, because it's always been about family. At least I think that's the quote that was towards the end of the video. So basically, it's Jay Lethal against Andrade El Idolo with Ric Flair and Jeff Jarrett as the tag-alongs.
I mean, to be fair, at least Jeff has worked a couple of matches recently.
If you want to call what he did in GCW working, sure, go ahead. I have to send you that link. I'll make sure I do it.
We'll trade. You send me that, I'll send you a link for kayfabe.
Yeah, holy shit. I can't believe you didn't see that.
No, I didn't know this shit existed, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I just figured they were throwing out matches for the sake of throwing out matches. It was like, okay, well, this makes sense. Lethal's been helping him train, and they're in Tennessee, so they want to get the pop from Jarrett. Okay, no problem.
You're going to watch that video.
Oh, God.
And as much as you laughed just now, you're going to laugh even more when you see Ric Flair. Not that there's anything nice about seeing a 73-year-old being beat up that's got health issues. But, oh, by the way, I didn't even tell you the first part. So the first punch that Lethal throws at Flair. Now, I don't know if this is true, what Flair said, but it landed essentially on like his left side. So it was a right hand from Lethal going into his left side, like his gut, essentially. So Flair goes, "Oh, God, that's my surgery scar." and then he falls. I swear to God, that's basically what Rick said as he's falling to the ground from the shot. Yes,
Bruh.
I can't make that shit up. That's legit what he
I'll
said.
show you a surgery scar, motherfucker.
I'm just saying, like, oh, I can't. I can't. By the way, if you want to find a vehicle that wasn't involved in that video, if you want to find a vehicle that wasn't the one Ric Flair was beat up behind in that video, go to Mohawk Kana because the team there will find you what you're looking for by not just searching their lot, but they'll even search up and down the entire Eastern Seaboard as JJ shows his battle scars from being in the ER a few days ago. Good Lord Almighty. The real opportunity right now, though, is for you to either trade in or straight up sell your vehicle, as Mohawk Honda is buying cars, and in some cases, you're going to be able to get more money than you paid for it when you sell it back. The supply chain is still facing challenges, which is creating a great selling opportunity for you, the customer. And as always, a team of Mohawk Honda, they look to make the buying and selling experience very easy with any of our friends, Carlos Kearns Svoboda, Luisa VIP Man Morales, or just go straight to the horse's mouth, the general manager, Greg Johnson, because at Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Bridge Road and Schenectady, they want to buy your car, maybe even set you up with something that fits your budget and your lifestyle potentially, because Mohawk Honda, they always go out of their way to please you, much like that Ric Flair video is going to please JJ in a little bit. That being said, that wraps up the show because I can't. I'm at Brian Katie on Twitter. He's at JJ_Alexander. Whew. It's going to be a short week because we're probably going to turn around on Monday or Tuesday next week.
Yeah.
To go over Death Before Dishonor. We'll preview SummerSlam.
I'm sure we'll be able to go over some shit. Some fuckery's going to happen. You know it is.
There's going to be some fuckery going on, whether it's on Raw.
God knows we'll probably have another media scrum from fucking Tony Montana to fucking go over.
Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. SmackDown, Rampage, something will set us off. Death Before Dishonor, I don't know. But anyways, that's JJ. I'm Brian. I know it's getting a little darker in here, but it's also getting hotter because I don't think it fucking rained yet. Fuck the Northeast.
Sometimes. You got to go contact your buddies at John Stowe Supply and get some AC up in that bitch.
It's just not central AC. We have air conditioners, but we don't have. It's an apartment. We're not going to have a central air system. I'm not going to pay for a central air system.
Being a homeowner.
Yeah, I know. Fuck off. Goodbye, JJ. Say fuck off, Tony Khan.
Fuck off, Tony Khan.